Hi. Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, Chad? How you doing? What's up? You crazy? What's up? How you doing, Paco? Mimi, thank you very much. Stony Dude, what's up? Spectre, yep, Hammy's back. Guess who's back? Hammy's back. Floyd says, I'm underwhelmed by the arc so far. Yikes. All right, well, there you go. Listen, Hammy is in the green room. He's looking at your chat. He's listening to your comments. I'm underwhelmed by this arc so far. I don't know. I'm actually kind of digging it. Me personally, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, that's just me. Benny Hill, what's going on? Silver Tab, how you doing? Good evening. Deathblade and Venadia says the cat is hanging out with a hamster. No way, this isn't going bad. Maybe. I don't know. Jonathan Wick, what's going on? Grisito, Benny Hill, Odysseus, On Call Doc. What's going on, Daddy Dave, PhD? Good evening to you. Welcome in, everybody. We are kicking off the show in exactly 75 seconds. Get ready to go. 75 seconds, and it will be showtime. Welcome in.
Your own mortality.
Obsidian Hamster is going to be with us here tonight. Very, very excited about that. Yes! That's right. Applause is called for. There you go. Yes. Obsidian Hamster is going to be here. We're going to be talking about the Gorn Eviscerator. Attention and warning. Warning. Parental guidance is advised. Gornographic material is contained within. Okay, we've got a lot going on. Let's check in with the Talking Trek server sound off, find out who in the audience is here to hear from their favorite hamster, and we're going to kick it off this evening with Benny Hill's Ghost on server 42. Thank you. What's going on? Appreciate you being here. Raj on server 9, Daverick on server 21. Thank you. And Dominus Prime on 53. Devil in the Belfry on server 14. Tarvitude on 70. Pirate Yar on 34. Crazy on 24. Kin Shadow on 74. Kelad also on 74. Herbs on 28. What's going on? Enterprise Actual on 13. Iron Chef on server 14. Thank you very much. Silver Tab on 40. Godfather Triple on server 16. Bender the Robot on 51. Maxenheimer on 184. Balabob on server 17. Daddy Dave on 24. Ignis Draco on server 164. Thank you. Floyd Divino, Floyd, hi Floyd, on 21. Darth Simon on 152. Anubis on 201. Appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Yes, there's going to be lots of pornography tonight. Just advising everybody. Children, cover your eyes. Explicit pornography is coming. That's right. Spectre, what's going on? Server 11. Thank you. Ghost Rider on 63. Taxman on server 53. Jonathan Ingram on 15. Thank you. Stradalorian on 9. Ultron on 53. Everywhere It Matters on server 56. DJ Girl on server 8. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Ultimate DJs, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the stage of Talking Trek. Thank you. 140 additional messages in the Talking Trek server sound off, and 230 people here to see Obsidian Hamster. And, you know, I'm just kind of hanging out. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a very full show. We're going to be talking about the Gorn Eviscerator. We're going to be talking about Strange New Worlds Part 2. We're going to be talking about the updates to the Gorn loop, and it's all coming from the minds of the game designers of this loop as we get them speaking through Hammy tonight. We're very, very excited about that. But it wouldn't be a show, Griffin, it wouldn't be a show of Talking Trek, guest or not, if we didn't have our opening segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you with visual commentary from our very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed time. Griffin, do you think we should do it? We should totally do it, right?
Yes.
What is that? Fix yourself, man. What is that? Hit the button. He's like, I have no idea what actually just happened. Did you hear that? He had a voice changer on. He was trying to mess with me. Ladies and gentlemen, what takes priority? Wait, which chat takes priority? Kinky Boots, I'm actually watching both of them. Isn't that crazy? I got one eye on one. I got one eye on the other. All right? See, I can do this. I can going back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, with special guest commentator Obsidian Hamster, it is indeed time for your stupid news.
Stupid news.
It's time for the news. Yep, it is time for the news. Ladies and gentlemen, Obsidian Hamster is here. Look at him. There he is. Yes. Hammy, what's going on, buddy? How are you? Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the show. Are you ready to hear some stupid news? Because this is like my favorite part of the show. Like nothing else really matters. It's just stupid news. Oh, God, I don't have Hammy. Hammy, what happened? What happened? I lost you, Hammy.
Oh, no.
We tested this.
I'm 100% ready.
There you are. That wasn't me. You were muted, weren't you? Were you muted, Hammy?
Yeah, I was. I wasn't ready when I was muted, but now that I'm unmuted, I am ready. Right. I wasn't ready before, but now I'm ready.
Fantastic. Well, I do have news for you, everybody, and it's going to be absolutely epic. Air Canada. News written in honor of our guest. Air Canada, Hammy, has officially become the lowest ranked airline when it comes to customer satisfaction. Oh. The lowest ranked airline when it comes to customer satisfaction in all of North America. Yes. Yeah. Which, listen, it's incredible. That's pretty freaking fantabulous. It's quite an achievement, Hammy, because Spirit Airlines still exists. Okay? Like, it's a kind of a big deal. Yeah. Good job. You got
How?
Good job. Good job. All right. Way to go. Way to go, team.
Stunning.
Let's see what else we got.
Sad for my native land.
All right. A man was recently arrested, Hammy, for attempting to break into Will Smith's Los Angeles home. Did you hear about this? Actually happened just down south of you. Somebody actually broke into Will Smith's house. It was truly shocking for everyone in the home, including Jada Pinkett Smith and her unnamed boyfriend. Yes.
Okay.
Big celebrities, Griffin, pay huge money for security, yet random creeps still get onto their property. Talk about a real slap in the face.
Oh, she had that coming.
Got it. Disney's. Oh, this is going to be good. Hammy, you guys want to see Hammy's face for this? All right, this is going to be a good one. Disney's Bob Iger announced a new focus. By the way, I did not make this up. Griffin, please tell me you saw this news article. Guys, the CEO of Disney came out with a statement promising quality over quantity. I am not making that up. That is real.
Hey.
That is real.
That happened.
That
yes,
actually happened. Is Disney comes out promising quality over quantity when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a cap, instituting a cap on annual TV series and films inside the MCU. I know what you're thinking, everybody. I know what you're thinking, but I guess it's time that we can finally let you guys in on the secret. Folks, Echo went to work for Disney. All right.
That's where he's been. Oh.
That's real. That's real. Didn't make that up. During his Netflix roast this past week, Tom Brady was quick to shut down comedian Jeff Ross's joke about Robert Kraft. Did you guys see this video? Did you guys see this? And the joke about Robert Kraft and the massage parlors? Did you hear about that? That was the only joke all night long that apparently Tom Brady was uncomfortable with. I guess some things are a little too below the belt, which suits Robert Kraft just fine.
You get one massage. One.
It's so good. Oh, it's fun stuff. Let's see. What's oh, yeah, two below the belt. Okay, yeah, we're good. Luckily, the rest of the roast went off without a hitch. You could say the production actually had a happy ending. Comedian Jeff Ross says that Patriots owner Robert Kraft loved the irreverent massage joke that sparked Tom Brady's reaction, his concern. Just like Kraft's massage therapist, the joke apparently did not rub him the wrong way. Ladies and gentlemen, I like it a lot. A faulty dishwasher forced the interruption of an orchestra concert in Hamburg, Germany. Luckily, nobody in the audience noticed because they were all asleep. Finally, today, your final stupid news story. Hammy, this is actually kind of a thing, and I'm hoping that we get a chance to circle back and talk about this at some point in the future. Apparently, an 11-day Paradise nude cruise is set to set sail from Miami, Florida in February of 2025, Griffin. That's happening. As a matter of fact,
coincidence?
As a matter of fact, it's great news for those attending the Star Trek cruise the week after. No tan lines, already kind of in the party mood and ready to show off your warp cores and nacelles. Yeah.
Sunburn in all the wrong places.
Yeah, that's right. The travel company is called Bare Necessities, and they're collaborating with cruise line Norwegian Cruise to launch an 11-day cruise that will travel from Miami to the Caribbean. So get ready to see plenty of coconuts. So that was the joke. Okay, we're done. Even the soundboard didn't like that one. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. And that is your stupid news. Scalyback says, wait, which cruise? Is it the Star Trek cruise? Might as well be. It could be. I don't know. Griffin, you ready to take like 2.5 weeks off work? We'll just go on one back to back. Go on one, get on the other. It's
I
apparently
would love that.
it's fairly
Clothing is optional on the Star Trek cruise in the first place, as we saw.
That is true. I mean, there was on the Star Trek cruise, Hammy, there were actually people in full body paint cosplays. Like there was actual nudity. Wow. There was nakedness. All right. There was no nacelles hanging out, but I mean there was still like full body paint. You know.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So have you booked
this was
yet?
last year?
Yeah. Have you booked yet? Are you going? You got to go, right?
You know,
go, right?
You never know what'll happen in the future. It's I might show up.
There, you might show up. You gotta come on, right?
It's not impossible.
All right, that's good. Well, we're gonna talk.
It's not impossible.
Speaking of, they did release a new video, Griffin, Star Trek The Cruise. To promo Star Trek The Cruise 8, they released the Star Trek video from Star Trek Cruise 7. I made it in it, Griffin. They were doing my Billy from Accounting makeup. They put me in
I
it.
love that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm in it. I made the video. All right, listen, we'll talk more about that later. We've got actually more important things to get to tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Obsidian Hamster is here. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Hi, everybody.
I know it's
great to be back.
It's not a no, right? Yeah, it's not a no for him going on the cruise. Yeah, Hammy, appreciate you being here. Listen, we got a chance to talk to us a little bit earlier in the week regarding the ARC launch, and of course, you were on vacation. How was vacation? Did you have a good time? You did good?
Vacation was fantastic.
What did you do?
Vacation was fantastic. I went to actually visit family in Belgium. My sister lives out that way.
Nice.
And then I actually made it to the studios over in Barcelona and met up with the rest of the team there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have. I don't know if this is public yet. There is video footage of you and Beck and Sierra all hanging out. Yeah, I saw a video of you guys doing like some kind of like Charlie's Angels thing, right? Is that public yet? By the way, has that been released? I don't know if
I mean. I'm okay with it. I need to check, of course, with Sierra and Beck because I think it's an awesome picture.
It's a great
awesome
photo.
Picture. But it was fantastic having the three of us together because we've been working really hard to help improve like comms throughout the past couple months, and to have us all in the same room was fantastic because I've worked with Sierra for like over 2 years now, and this is the first time we've met in person. So it was just incredible and kind of a little bit surreal too, because I work from home, so I've seen these people just as a head on my computer screen for a couple of years. But the three of us getting together was fantastic.
It looked like it was fun, and I got to say, in talking my conversations with Beck and you, it felt like you guys really got a lot done. Like it's amazing how. I mean, we've talked about this before, Griffin, about how time zones can kind of inhibit the productivity of Scopely's teams sometimes. But it really, like, Beck was very positively speaking about some of the work you guys got done and some of the initiatives that are being worked on, which are super top secret right now, but really exciting that you guys have planned for the future. Just not even within the game, but like within community, right? Which is actually super cool. And I'm not gonna prod you too much on that, but it is nice to kind of give a nod to the community that there's a community team in place now that might be our all-star team, right? Like we've had good community managers in the past. We've had individuals who have worked really, really hard, but you guys are a dream team. Like some of the work you're getting done is actually really cool. Now, this wasn't on my list. We just kind of natively got into it. But is there anything that you would like to talk about regarding what you and Sierra and Beck were able to accomplish while you were in Barcelona? Is there anything that you want to hint to the audience about some of the community stuff that you guys are working on, initiatives, or is that a little premature right now?
Well, we have some really interesting stuff, kind of more community focused. But just before we get to, and we can go into that right now, or we could talk about it later. But first, I just want to say thank you for the kind words about Beck and Sierra and myself. I was just talking to Beck today that we feel like we're starting to really build momentum here as the comms team, and we're just going to keep getting better and better. And I want to thank Beck for being here, and Sierra as well. I just want to thank everybody. As far as kind of the sneak peek of stuff that we were talking about, we are going to be looking to start sending out surveys to players to invite them to come to LA for a playtest of kind of future content. And they'll get a tour of the HQ, and I'll be there to give the tour. So we're really starting to involve players in the process earlier on and get their feedback and see what they can, see what their thoughts are, see what we can implement into the game. So I'm excited for this. Like when Beck told me about this, like a couple of weeks ago, we were just happy because this is exactly what we want. We want engagement. We want players earlier in the process. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with everybody and getting to meet them.
We didn't have this before, so I can only assume that you're really excited and talking loudly. We are getting a little bit of distortion in your mic. I don't know if there's something. It's like RF interference. Griffin says, like, are you microwaving ramen in the background? That's what you're doing. Are you making? Are you making a? There is something interfering with your microphone there. Yeah, maybe we can find that and back it off. Look, Beck sent me the photo. Can we look at this real quick? Do you guys want to see the photo? All right, I'll put this up on your guys' screen. I don't think you're going to get to see it, Hammy, the way that we've got our screen set up. But community, there you go. That is okay. So that's not as much Charlie's Angels as I thought. It's just kind of like.
What are you talking about? That's very Charlie's Angels.
It is
Meet
kind of
Spider-Man.
It is. I mean, it is a little bit. Charlie's okay, all right, but that's it. That's the fun that you guys got to have. No work got done, just posing for funny photos right there. Fantastic. So when we're talking about this playtest, let me back up because I think I was hearing the microphone and I was scrambling over here with Griffin and trying to get the photo from Beck. But are you talking about like an actual what kind of playtest? Like
basically, it will. Is this better? Is my mic a little bit better now?
Keep going. We'll find out.
Okay. All right. We'll figure it out. We'll fix it in post. So I think that we are going to be bringing players out to actually see future content, like content that's coming out down the line, and getting their feedback and just seeing what they think of it. Because this is something that I've heard players mention for a long time. Like, why don't we have play tests where players get to see what we're working on in advance and give us that feedback earlier on. So this is going to be exactly that opportunity.
Any chance? So, okay, hold on. Playtest, which means Scopely has to actually tell people future content. It's kind of a foreign concept for you guys. Are we talking about like people are going to get to come out and play it, but you're going to tell the broader community what it is, or is this going to be like a super secret confidential underground bunker lockdown? Or you're shaking your head. Yep. Yes. Okay. So secret
underground. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there'll be NDAs and stuff like that that'll have to be signed. But that's what I'm so excited about, is finally getting players involved earlier in the process. And I'm absolutely looking forward to this because I think this is a great step in the right direction.
Absolutely it is. Just out of curiosity, what's the process if a player wanted to make themselves available for that? Or is it too early? Like, where do I sign up? Where do I sign up, Hammy, to find out and play STFC 6 months or a year in the future?
Yeah. We're going to start with surveys that we're going to be sending out to players. I'm not quite sure what the selection process is going to be like, but that's going to be the first step. I would assume that will probably be happening in the next little while because I think we're aiming for July-ish to have everybody come down there. But the surveys will be step one.
So if I want to come, I actually have to put thoughtful commentary into my surveys, not just Hammy has a great mustache or something like that. No. Okay, no.
Correct.
Goatee. Yeah. All right. So there you go. Through constructive criticism and intellectual survey responses, you may be invited to actually come to Culver City and do some playtesting. That would actually be super cool. Speaking of learning about new content and kind of forecasting, I will say that Scopely is... It's interesting. I don't know what the right terminology is, but over the last 6 to 9 months, it has been like you guys are finally becoming more comfortable in a place where you're willing to talk to select members of the community about future content. Let's transition or segue into the Gorn Eviscerator. I knew about this several months ago, and it excited me then. And even though Beck was constantly like right out of the camera frame with like, you know, with what is the Fear of the Walking Dead? Like, what's the bat that Negan rolled around with? What was that thing? Maurice? No, it wasn't Maurice. What was the name of the bat? She just constantly threatened to Greg, sure, that Lucille, thank you. Beck constantly threatening me with Lucille if I merely muttered about this, but I've been excited about May. Gosh, Griffin, when did I come out and actually say I'm excited about May? It had to have been probably in February. That's what I was thinking.
It was February.
When I came out and I said, listen, I'm actually looking forward. Like, there's some cool game mechanics coming. And now the Gorn Eviscerator comes out. Now, Hammy, implementation is always kind of a question mark, right? That's always something we're a little bit concerned with. And even from kind of our play tests and some of the conversations we had early, it still didn't implement exactly the way we thought, particularly with the warp range and things like that. I know I've talked to you a little bit about that off the air. So let's go ahead and get into some of the questions. Obviously, this product has been in development for months. This tech, how long did it take the game design folks to develop this tech? Because this is new tech, right? I mean, it kind of started with wave defense, but this is still different, right?
Yeah. I think I heard about this originally, maybe, like 8 or 9 months ago is when the team actually kind of started talking about it. We got really excited for just the possibilities that you could have. I will agree with you that I think there were some iterations between when you saw it originally and when it actually arrived. If you're talking about the warp range of the ship itself, the good news is there's an active discussion going on with the team to look into what we can do to address that. I was actually talking with a lot of the game design today specifically about that. The one thing that I was I was not expecting was kind of the ops limits on when you could take people to higher systems.
Yeah.
That, honestly,
I think that took me by surprise too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like the way game design kind of pitched this on that, it felt broader in the early discussions, right? Like maybe Scopely got a little bit nervous about the capacity that the ship was going to offer folks, maybe. Tell me a little bit about some of the conversations you guys are having about the RIP technology and the RIP capabilities. Not necessarily did they get nervous about it, but are there talks about really letting this thing open up? Because one of the things that I was so excited about was the potential for Biggs to really support their alliance. You're from the VIP community. How many times have you heard over the last 2 years, like, I've beat the game, right? I can do anything. I'm as level 70. I've got all the ships. I got 3 Ds. But I want to do something for my team. Like, I want to experience something cool for my team. I want to give them some play. I want to give them a game style that they've never been able to do before. I know you've heard that before. That was what I think this ship could have done. And daggone it, we just missed the mark ever so slightly. It's close.
Yep. And it was really close. And I was kind of surprised that we didn't get that when it actually launched. I haven't heard of any discussions right now to increase that, but I'm kind of optimistic just because, they're already talking about the ship's warp range. If they're willing to kind of look into that, I hope that we can then start looking into the ops locked spatial rip ability to kind of go, because that was what I thought in my head, that it would be, G6 players being able to take G5, G4 to G6 systems, and participate in armadas or
I want to play in hazards, Hammy. I've wanted hazards for how long have they come out? I want to be kicked in the shins, man. That's what Bubba used to say. Playing in hazards is just like getting kicked. What did he say? He actually said it more verbose than that, I think. Balabom says horrible idea, but I think I like the idea. I've been jealous of hazards.
You just need to wail harder, DJ. Get over it.
I know.
Yeah. It's like playing with an itchy turtleneck.
Yeah. That is honestly, that's one of the main points of feedback that I heard on official on day one, that this is the ability that everybody was looking for. So we're going to keep cycling that up to the team and see if we can get that change happening. But like I said, I haven't heard of anything right now.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the broad strokes of the ship here a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
If the spatial rip, all right, the what we're going to lovingly refer to as the Rippy Rip. I don't know. We'll make something up. We're going to call it Rippy Rip. With the intent, what Scopely released, it did surprise you. It surprised me. It surprised a few of us on the player-facing side because it wasn't exactly, like I said, what we were kind of hoping for to begin with. But in the last 24 hours, you did have a chance to speak to the designers about the intent of this ship. If it is as constrained as it is, what did game design say their intention was? Because I feel like the utility of this ship, at least, or not the ship, the utility of the Rip might be a little less profound than maybe what they were hoping for. What was their intent? What did they want players to be excited about? What was the gung-ho about the spatial Rip?
Well, I think for alliances, it does offer up a new kind of aspect, the way that you can kind of interact, whether it's TC, whether it's Armada, surprise attacks against other alliances. I think there is some cool things that you can do with it, even without having being able to go to systems over your ops level. You'll of course have to get, the ship tiered up a little bit before you can have a whole surprise armada. But I love the idea of basically a whole fleet just kind of jumping out of a spatial rip and into a system all at once. I think there's a lot of fun that can be had with that and a lot of new strategic possibilities.
When you're talking about players being able to bring their ships, particularly if they are at least a mild spender, most of these players probably have spent on Disco Prime. So what is the spatial rip supposed to provide players that the Discovery can't?
Well, just the fact that you can bring all of your alliance with you. If you're playing solo, you can make an argument that you can just kind of spatial rip all of your ships to, say, like a solo armada, system and take care of that. But I don't know. I think primarily you would want that for your alliance and I think it's cool just to be able to bring other players with you, other members of your alliance. Plus, I would even say that the refinery is actually pretty solid as well, especially because it has the new officers right now, and the ship parts. I think as you tier up, are pretty cool too.
We will certainly talk about the refinery coming up in a little bit because it's certainly not something that I want to overlook. I know that Blue Mandalorian has done a lot of analysis. Jules Verne's done a lot of analysis on it. We've made some video content about the refinery. Refinery looks pretty strong, okay? I mean, there's that. And we'll come back and talk about that. But again, and I don't mean to kind of repeat myself, so if I am, then tell me to move on. But with regard to the spatial rip, let me be a little bit more point blank then. It feels like the technology of spatial rip in its current form might have been a little bit of a waste of time, given the capabilities of Disco. It would be different if the spatial rip had more broad use. Like you say, I can bring an entire alliance.
More range and less restriction.
Yeah, I can bring an entire alliance to an armada, as you just said, right? But why would a G6 player want to start a G4 armada? The whole point of a G6 carrying an armada would be to get them that extra loot in a G6 armada, right? So if the player can't rip up there, then in that particular form, and with that particular example, there's not a utility. And so I'm wondering if Armada was the primary intent from game design with the spatial rip, then they've got to remove the warp locks, unless there was another intent that we might be missing. And that's kind of the intent of the question is, what else should we be looking at with regards to the spatial rip, or was it designed for Armadas?
Yeah, no, Armadas was just one of the examples that I gave. Like TC would be probably one of the big ones too, and surprise attacks on other alliances, I think would be the other. Because I think one of the things that the spatial rip does give you is coordination. where you can, it pops up in Alliance chat. Everybody knows where it is, and you can coordinate a lot faster. So yeah, you can do armadas, but I think you're 100% correct. Like a G6 player isn't going to want to do a G4 armada, and that probably wouldn't be one of the primary functions of it. But TC and PvP stuff against other alliances, I think it's totally legit.
Give me an example of where you can see this ship being used in PvP. Just off the top of your head.
Like if you're at war, right? If you have somebody kind of scouting for, say, another alliance is like an admiral's base somewhere in the system, you find it, and then all of a sudden you can jump. Like someone's unshielded, for example. If you're caught with your shield down, you can jump like half your, well, maybe not half your alliance, but a good chunk of your alliance into that system immediately. I think that's a benefit. No?
Okay, fair.
Jump and some amalgams in there.
The chat's giving me grief because Grizita says, wait, we have G6 armadas. You know what I mean, man. All right, the bigger armadas, okay? Not necessarily.
Spoilers.
Come on, yeah.
Spoilers.
You heard nothing. Strike it from the record. Now I know why Beck's yelling at me in PM right now. By the way, I'm totally making that up. That's me covering for being an idiot, okay? Okay, so PvP, jumping in, surprising somebody. I noticed that the blog post mentioned Starbase assaults, and that makes me twitch.
What's an assault?
Yeah.
Stop it. So I guess
What was an assault?
I guess what I'm trying to say is. And you know what? Beck is in the chat. And hello, Beck. How are you? She writes, there could also be future content not yet released where RIP could be very useful. Like it's, I don't know, planned or something.
Like in the roadback content.
Sure, I can see that. But I want to... okay, that may be fair. Right? That may be a fair point. Griffin, we often talk about, we don't see the end. We came back and praised the Voyager loop, right? Voyager looked a little bit wonky in the beginning, but by the time we got to the end of the artifact loop, it looked really good, right? So I can acknowledge that possibility exists. But that will bring me back to a conversation that we've had a million other times, which is why launch something that just is confusing, right? I know On Call Doc, shout out, you're in the chat. We had a conversation the other day regarding the VIP perspective, and the VIP perspective is similar with regards to the spatial rip, that is similar in I'm not exactly sure how it benefits me or my team right now, all right? Now, sure, there could be future content, but right now it just seems like the refinery might be the biggest piece of this. Let me ask you this. Can you confirm that there is future content in which the use of the RIP will actually be a huge strategic advantage?
Well, I can't really say that for 100% accuracy because the game design team did design it with they do not want it to become obsolete after month 1, month 2. They want longevity with this ship. Now, if I could just kind of flip this on you real fast, when it comes to specialty ship abilities, do you think this one has more potential than, say, like the NX or Voyager or something like that? Because I still think even if there aren't a lot of strategic implementations right now, I still think it's one of the most interesting abilities that we've released in a while.
I would agree with that. All right. It's the technology is cool. I am no less excited about the tech than I was months ago when you guys told me about it. I still believe that this technology was great. I actually came out, Griffin, and bragged on Scopely saying that this would fundamentally change the game.
I would agree you did. And I think that everybody loves the tech. It's just that from the player standpoint, we are looking at the one thing we really want to do through a chain link fence.
I guess.
Yeah, I feel like this tech had the opportunity to blow the lid off the game, and Scopely was like, let's not get too crazy,
I would say in hindsight,
and that's honestly that is what we've been taking back to the team this week. Like that was the number one piece of feedback that I think I heard from VIP and I heard from official too. So that's what we're cycling up. It's just trying to get something fixed with the ops locking of that, because that has been number one. So I get it. I get where you're coming from, and I get where the players are coming from too. Because like I said, I even came to this under the understanding that that was going to be the case.
Sure.
So we're going to keep putting the pressure on and see what we can do.
I like that. Let me change gears a little bit, because I referenced On Call Doc here just a minute ago, and I see some of our VIP guests in the chat. Yeah, Doc's here. I saw Istio in the chat. What's going on? Welcome. Appreciate you very much for being here.
Istio.
I think some of you. I think some of your VIPs miss
he
you.
hit me once.
Yeah, Hammy, I think some of your VIPs miss you. As a matter of fact, I saw just a moment ago somebody in the chat yelling for you to be demoted because they want you back. As a matter of fact, I think I have somebody out there is rooting for me to trip you up to a point where they are so mad at you, Hammy, that you are just shuttled back to VIP. Right?
That's really rude.
I know.
I miss everybody over
You're
there.
fired. You can help
and
me.
I'm trying to check in from time to time. Official is keeping me super busy, but I miss, you build rapport with people, when you're in chat, 5 days a week, sometimes on weekends, you pop in to see what's going on. You really kind of build friendships over there. And I miss that. I'm working on that now on official. And I like a lot of the people on official right now. But like Panda and Uncle Doc and Stony and Istio and everybody that's here, thank you for stopping by first off. And I do miss you guys, and I will stop in more often, I swear.
There you go. All right, see, that's nice. We have some special guests in the audience tonight that might not ordinarily stop by the show, but they are definitely coming in to say hello to you very much. All right, let me change gears a little bit to the mechanic of the ship. All right, we were talking about the RIP. That's fine. We're going to push them on the ops lock. Jules Verne points out in the chat, all right, I've got one other kind of a weird thing. And you and I talked about this the other day. It is the suggestion in which the daily drip is unlocked for all, right? This is an unusual implementation of this ship because of its team play kind of nature, right? When you had Disco, you didn't start earning disco juice until you had the ship, because what are you going to use the disco juice for, right? When Borg Space was launched, you didn't start getting the Borg cells until you had the Vidar, because why are you going to go in there? In this particular case, we have the ship that is using, what are we calling it, community? Whole juice? I feel like we're going to have to come up with a better name for this, guys.
No, corn juice. Whole juice.
It's corn juice.
Sometimes the first idea is the best idea.
Okay.
Whole juice.
Hammy's going with whole juice. All right. There you go. Okay. So you've got the it sounds weird even saying it. You got the whole juice. All right. That is used to create the spatial rips. All right, we'll call those the initiations or the creation of the spatial rip. But for the first time ever, you have a participation metric that involves people who may not have the ship, right? Except it still costs juice for a participant to go through. So if we're going back to the intent that game design had of a spender, using this ship for the benefit of their alliance, to allow them to come and do the armadas or do PvP or, God forbid, do an assault, okay? It still is very prohibitive for just a member in Doc's alliance to get the benefit of this ship because they don't have sourcing on juice. So it was a suggestion that we had thrown in the chat, just, hey, make this daily drip available for everybody, because if it costs juice to be able to use the rip, how are players who don't yet have the ship, how are players who are going to pursue the free-to-play path, which we are going to talk about in a moment, the players who are going to pursue the free-to-play path, what benefit do they have from their alliance mates who do in fact own the ship now if there's no way to get the juice?
That's a great question, actually. Like you said, we should have a way, at least some sort of drip for them to be able to get through and join, the rest of their alliance and going through. This is the first time that I've heard this piece of feedback regarding it. I think it's a great question. The best I can do is raise it to the team and see what we can do about getting the drip, because we want everybody to be able to participate in these rifts. That's the whole point of them. Like, we don't want anybody to be left out because they just don't have what do we call it, the whole juice, or is it the small juice? Like, which one?
Corn juice, please, for the love of God, corn juice.
With this.
I like the whole juice.
Get that.
All right. We'll go with, we're gonna stick for at least tonight. We're gonna call it Rippy Rip. Whole juice. Sorry,
whole juice. Rippy Rip whole juice.
Yeah, 100% whole juice. All right. But yeah. So yes, Herp in the chat says, wait, the riff requires juice to even travel through, or what we'll fondly refer to, Hammy, as a traversal. All right. It does, in fact, require juice. So if your alliance mate purchased the juice and you are free to play in that alliance and they're opening a rift and saying, hey, Hammy, come on up. Let's do this big old armada that you can't fly to yet. But hey, come on up. Let's do this big armada. Let's go do this Starbase Assault. We got to steal some magnesium plasma stuff. Come on. Let's go do it. But daggone, you still can't, because they don't have a way to get the juice, because we were hoping that would be open to all, but it wasn't. What we found was that daily drip only became active once you built the ship. So what do you think? And I know this was something that we discussed over in dev chat prior to. Do you feel like that is something that live ops or game design, probably game design, would be a little bit open to if they want to build some excitement for the ship? Seems like we need more people using it, right?
Yep. I'm in full agreement with you. And like I said, I don't think I've seen this come up in chat too much on official. So it hasn't been on my radar. But because we're having this conversation, I can take this back to the team. I know the people that worked on this, and they are, I think they've done a great job actually on the Gorn loop, or actually the whole Gorn arc, both April and May, and they are very player focused. I think you bring up a great idea, because we want players, even if you don't have the ship, to be able to interact with the spatial rips. So you're speaking my language, dude.
All right, I like it. And Cruzito, we can go do that big armada. It's just not a G6 one. Get off my back, man. Cruzito still riding me about the G6 armada thing. So thank you. Tibbs says, let's talk a little bit about this weekly event. All right, there was a weekly event teased, which was indeed, I believe, hinted at that this was going to be the free-to-play path for this ship. But Scopely has, up to this point, remained mum, all right, about what the event is, what the time frame is, how long it's going to take, et cetera, et cetera. Are you prepared to give us any more insight into that yet? I know that the event is not live today. It might not be live tomorrow, but your blog indicated that there will be a weekly sourcing event. Now, this is reminiscent of Cerritos a long time ago. There was a Cerritos event. It came out X number of times. You got so many blueprints, and people had the ship, and that was actually pretty well praised. It feels like you guys might be modeling that again, but we haven't yet had a time frame or a look at the event or how many blueprints are in it. Are you prepared to offer any information on the free-to-play path tonight?
Well, I can actually offer you some context for that, because like you said, in the patch notes, we said that they're coming in the future. There'll be events coming out that you'll be able to source the BPs. However, there has been some confusion on when those are going to start, because we never really got into anything specific. But I think there was some players out there that thought it was going to be day one. That was never actually stated.
I have to own that. I think that might be partly my fault, because I mean.
Yeah.
You think maybe?
No, hang on, Griffin. What I said could have been misinterpreted. What I said was people will know the free-to-play path on day one. And they did, because the blog indicated that there would be an event. What we're missing are some details, right? We knew that there was going to be a weekly event that sourced the ship. And I I said that was going to come on day one. So if there is some confusion about that, I can own my role in that. But Scopely did say there was going to be an event. What they haven't said is details, right? Where are we? What are we looking at for this event? When is it going to start? I mean, Cerritos events didn't actually start until the following arc, right? You guys remember that? Like so it was a month. Are you prepared? Again, are you able to offer any context on that event?
I just very little. I don't think it's going to be a month, but I can't give any like concrete details right now. The thing that I can say is that the free to play path has become like one of my number one issues that I'm chasing down right now, because I even brought up at a meeting with the team, like to get more information out sooner about the free to play path. Like when we do our patch notes, when we do an arc launch, I am going to be trying to get a lot more specifics about at least when the events are coming to give players a little bit more understanding about when they can get the ship. So it won't be my initial plan was to let's get a standardized release. Like let's say every arc, the new ship will take X amount of time, but some ships will take a little longer than others. But right now, I want to get the comms up, and this is the thing is like I think on Rev Show, like what type of improvements, even if comms are doing really, really well, what kind of improvements can we do? This would be a perfect example of getting the free to play path established early on. Maybe give some details about what the events are going to be and what they're upcoming.
Regarding that, and it looks like Beck is helping out in chat and saying, and I'm going to read this for the podcast audience, that there is indeed a planned start date. So there is a fixed date for the event to start, and we might have to leave it there. It sounds like because I'm getting the finger wag over here on the side. Lucille is dangerously close to the side of my head right now. So I do I respect that. Thank you for what commentary we've got regarding that. And at this point, just TBD, right? There will be an event.
Yep.
Do we Beck, and I'm asking you a little bit more, maybe since you're in the chat. Do we have a timeline? Like, not necessarily when the event will start. You say it's got a planned start date. Once that starts, there have been other planned paths in the game, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Do we have anything that we can share on that particular piece of the plan?
Yeah, and I can actually jump in here on this because Beck and I and CR worked really closely on getting as much information as we can to the players. And this was actually a very long discussion that we had on Arc Launch Day. The closest thing I can give you right now is it's basically like the NX-01's path. So it'll be something similar along those lines. And again, I really wish we could be more specific about this. But if you followed how the NX-01 has been coming along, it'll follow a similar timeline.
And all right, so somebody come back and remind me what the NX-01 timeline was, because I just got it. Mick Shizman saying 100 days. Omicron saying it's a long road. Nura agreeing 100 days. You like that?
Remember, one battle pass blueprint one blueprint per day, DJs, in the faction store.
Yeah, but this ship has 200 blueprints.
Exactly.
Well, he said timeline, not acquisition. Am I reading too much into it, Hammy? He's not going to answer that question.
Although the one there is I'll tell you what, the one big difference, I think that the you do have the drip of the NX-01 versus I think that at least for now the Eviscerator will be through events.
Okay. Wait, through event? Oh, yeah, the weekly event. Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. All right, so let's switch over then to we talked about the daily drip for the free to play, the participation, and then the acquisition path for the free to play to actually be able to come in and start moving along with the ship. Let's talk a little bit about the ship and its passive ability. All right, we talked about that a few minutes ago with the boost to what it's doing with the Gorn loop. All right. Griffin, yep. I can't imagine that in and of itself is really being frowned upon. I mean, the warp range, again, we know we're talking about the warp range because I can't get to the same ships that my other ship can hit.
Yep.
And so, in a manner of speaking, and let me point this out maybe a little more bluntly than I probably should, but the intent was for sure that it was supposed to be an addition to the original loop, that it was supposed to be the same hostile, which it is, right? The Gorn hostiles are still dropping both loops, both loots now. And it is early, in all fairness. The reason that we're using a second loop or a second loot in the same hostile was player feedback derived, which is, hey, we're not trying to add another loop, but we're going to save time. We're going to make that loop better. And this probably is where some of the community is coming back and being like, okay, warp range is an issue because I'm getting great new loot. The loot bonus for the new loot, I can't remember the name. It's not volatile isomatter. Apex isomatter. The loot bonuses from the Eviscerator are fantastic. No qualms, absolutely no issues whatsoever with that. Griffin, we showed the other night, what was it? I think Blue Mandalorian pointed out it was essentially like 1 or 2 hostiles got you a daily pull. And I think 5 hostiles was a max triple pull. It was
one hostile single pull.
One hostile single pull. Five hostiles got you the full triple pull. It is an extremely beautiful loop. I mean, it takes 60 seconds, all right, which is phenomenal. Love that piece of it. Can we acknowledge that it is a second loop almost because the amount of volatile isomatter that I can get from the level of hostile that I can hit with the Eviscerator is non-consequential to what I need to do. In other words, I still have to fly my ship up to hit the level 60 Gorn to get any quantifiable amount of the normal isomatter that I can't get by hitting the lower level hostiles because there's not a loot gain on the Eviscerator. Am I explaining that right, Hammy?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
On this. Like, I think that one of this, I do see where you're coming from. Like, adding, the new loot is kind of, in a way, I guess, a second way to do, or a second kind of loop, but not in the traditional sense. If you're looking at, what we added for the Enterprise arc, where that was like adding grind after grind after grind. Those were legitimate,
for sure.
Loops that we were adding. Like, I think that even regardless, like, I would still be doing the Gorn loop based off of being able to get some of the stuff in the refinery, even before you put, the new officers or the ship parts or anything like that. So this just gives you kind of added incentive to go out and keep doing this loop. I don't really see it as a second grind. Like, I send my Eviscerator out to the lower level ship, and we do have to work on warp range. Honestly, that's something that is, like I said, being talked about. But I will send my Eviscerator out. I will take care of that. I'm not sending my bigger ships out to the higher level systems anymore until at least I can tier it up a little bit further and get it further out. But I don't really see it as a new loop.
Okay, and I totally get it. And you know what? Some of the chat is actually agreeing with you on that, disagreeing with me that it really is not. Looking at time-wise, right? Blue Mandalorian says, DJ, you're looking at a want-it-now kind of mentality, but in 6 months, the ship can do both. Omicron agreeing that in 6 months, I'll be able to use the Gorn Eviscerator in most likelihood for both loops because there are some researches there. So would you describe this as being a growing pain? We've had Mr. Tiger from Game Design on the show before, and he always talks about a loop taking a little bit of time to ramp up. Do you feel that this was the game design intent here, is that it's going to take a minute to kind of ramp up and eventually the Gorn Eviscerator will be the only Gorn ship that we use?
Yeah, I think so. But again, I think it's even handy in the present, like right now. I think you're right. I think it could grow into something that will be, this will be the ship that you want to use, period. But still, I see this as kind of a massive win, actually, after coming in from our first 3 months of the year.
Sure.
With real grinds added. This is almost as soft as we could kind of introduce a new ship, and without putting an actual new grind in there.
And please don't misunderstand. I think you're 1,000% right. I mean, when I look at this arc, it is Well, I put this in dev chat the other day. I think that this entire Strange New Worlds arc here so far, like April and May, have the foundation to be the best seasonal arc of probably the last 2 years.
Yep.
Okay, and I might be a little optimistic on that, but it's certainly for 2024, it's taking the cake, and I feel like it is looking really good for well into 2023. And I love the fact that we use the same hostile. And maybe chat, you guys could tell me to settle down. Maybe the issue that they already said they're talking about, the warp rage, maybe that fixes everything, right? Like maybe that just fixes everything because Quality in the chat says this is the best of all time, right? Saying that this is the best, at least in a very long time. Everywhere It Matters says it will absolutely, DJ, settle down, he says. It will absolutely be the Gorn Killer when level appropriate. The isolated damage boost plus the loot bonus, the research loot bonus, the research warp range. Once you add any cascade is going to be a heck of a punch-up mechanic. Okay. See,
Can confirm.
Bubba's not
level
here.
Level 10 is great.
Bubba's not here. I'm doing the I want it now thing. I'm standing in his role for I want it all and I want it now. All right, fair enough. So that is what we're looking at as far as the loop. And in other words, game design says, relax. It's going to get there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's transition then from the hostile now and further look into the loop. And let's talk about the refinery. Because, Griffin, we talked a lot about the refinery the other night. This refinery is again probably one of the better ones we've seen in a long time. As a matter of fact, I think Jules Verne came in and said literally the only thing in this refinery that doesn't make it the best of all time is the fact that there are full pull opportunities missing from the officers. But even the number of officers that you're getting, the number of shards that you can pull per day, that chart that we were looking at the other day, I don't know if that's still in the graphics room. Did we actually put that in the graphics room, Griffin, about the number of shards and all that stuff? I'm going to okay, there it is. I see it. It's actually right above the Charlie's Angels photo. There's a link to a spreadsheet, community. If you're listening in podcast form, there's a link to one of Blue and Jules' Google Sheets that talk about the Gorn refinery. And the one thing that I wanted to kind of point out, and this was something that I was talking about in developer chat, Hammy, was in particular the officer sourcing. It feels like it might be kind of good. And let me see. I'm trying to look for that. Blue, I had it. Where did it go? It went away. Let me see if I can find it here. We were talking about the number of officer shards that you could potentially earn. Oh, here it is.
It's in the lower right of the spreadsheet.
I see it. So, Hammy, if we're looking at the number of shards that can be pulled per day, we're looking at, even at tier 1, an average, because you might not be able to pull it out every single day. And I'll throw this up on the screen for those of you who are watching on video form right now. Even at tier 1, you're averaging, Hammy, 1 shard a day. All right. You couldn't pull it in the first day, but you should be able to pull it for at least the next 2 or 3 days, and then it actually averages out to 1.1 shards per day. 0.6 chests per day, but, yada, yada, yada. The comparison to this was with Strange New Worlds, or, the Mantis, where you were getting shards there. I think that was the basis of comparison. But as you tier this ship up, we're looking at 4 shards a day by tier 6, 9 these numbers are a little different, Blue, than they were the other day. 4 shards at tier 6, going up to 5 shards a day by max tier. I feel like these numbers are a little lower than they were.
They're not. It's just that last time we were discussing per week, which is over to the right.
Well, that says 25 shards a week, even at tier 6. Okay, well, nonetheless, this Texas guy says this part's even nicer. All right, because it is really solid sourcing. I think the most beautiful thing out of this entire loop is probably indeed the refinery. How about this, Hammy? Finally, Scopely introduces a permanent, decent sourcing of G4 ship parts to G5 and above players. That's amazing. We've been looking for that for a really long time. Tell me a little bit about the design process, because that wasn't that way in the very beginning either. As a matter of fact, you and I had talked about that in a meeting. I think you were there. I think Beck was there. Doc was there, I believe. We were talking about the G4 parts weren't going to be there, right? Like, this was something that game design added in a little bit later. Tell me a little bit about that thought process. Was it based on that feedback that you guys came in and decided to add this in? Because this was a huge win. This was really, really great.
Honestly, when I was talking about the people in game design that worked on this arc in particular, they are very player centric. They're very player focused. So they were, and this is I swear this is a true story. They were actually kind of surprised they got everything they could into that refinery, like the ship parts, like the officers. They were just ecstatic that they could make that happen. And so I guess you sometimes have those iterations when you're planning an arc. Like sometimes, the spatial rip will change for, it'll be ops locked. But on the other hand, you will get iterations like this where the ship parts start showing up, and then it should go up. I think, with the tier of the ship, you'll get G5 and then G6 eventually at some point as well, I believe. So I'm just so happy that this refinery came in as part of this arc. I would tend to agree that this is probably the best 2 months that we've had in a very long time. With everything we had in April and now with this refinery now, I think it's one of the best 2 back-to-back months we've had ever.
Fantastic. Listen, we are going to take a very quick break. When we come back, I've got a few more questions for our special VIP guest, community manager, Obsidian Hamster. We're going to talk a little bit about communication this month. He was on vacation for the last several weeks. I guess maybe 2-3 weeks. How long were you gone? It was a long time.
Well, I was off for a solid week and a half, but then I was working from Barcelona for a little bit.
Yeah, 7 weeks, Omicron says. He's been gone for months. I know. Listen, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about communication. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of wrapping up last month as well with some of the community feedback that came in regarding communication, regarding the Gorn loop finally being a loop that is worthy. As you said, this being a great month, and now May leading off to a pretty decent start with the loop. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the Kirschauer artifact, just some of the communications that you've offered in the Discord. But there are communications, right? And I want to talk a little bit about those with the announcements that you guys have done with the hot fixes and the Battle Pass overflow, and just kind of focus in on communication a little bit. I give kind of a community bulletin board a little bit, Hammy, for you to tell our podcast audience, if they're not in Discord, about some of the things that you have announced. And we'll come back and do that right on the other side of this break. We have to take one, and we're going to be right back with Obsidian Hamster, Scopely Community Manager and Star Trek Fleet Command hero to all. We're going to do that right here on the other side of the break. My name is Ultimate DJs. This is Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. We will return right after these words.
Scotty, we'll need everything you have. Warp speed. Aye.
Commanders, that sound can mean only one thing, and it's that we are hyping up Star Trek The Cruise 8. Why, might you ask, are we hyping this up? Because we are bringing you with us. That's right, Talking Trek presents Star Trek The Cruise 8 Sweepstakes, where you've got a chance for you and a friend to join us on the boat. Support the channel however you would like, through Patreon, through Twitch, and even by sending simple postcards. The official rules are available on our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com, also on our Discord and in our Twitch chat. Hurry and get your entries into the contest right now. There are no limits and no purchase is necessary. You want to go cruising with myself, Griffin, Wardod, and so many more? Then enter now for your chance to win for you and a friend to cruise Royal Caribbean for Star Trek The Cruise 8, where we will be celebrating 30 years of Voyager. That's right, it's the 30th anniversary. Find the official rules and get entered today. Yo, what's up, Commanders? Great news about PvPtarget.com. You've known for a while that it exists and has some great reference tools regarding PvP banding and common crew loadouts, but they've recently launched brand new tools on the site, including a brand new cargo calculator page as well. This isn't your typical max cargo style calculator, but a brand new, unique tool that identifies the timer until you go over cargo. The game timer might tell you how long to zero the node, but how long until your miner is at risk? You can find out now by using the brand spanking new cargo calculator at PvPtarget.com. Today's show brought to you in part by the Musgrove Trial Firm in Georgia. Have you suffered personal injury in Georgia? You need a buddy. Give Buddy at the Musgrove Trial Firm a call, 678-226-1994. Visit them online at musgrovetrialfirm.com. You looking for ways to enhance your gaming experience inside Star Trek Fleet Command? Well, Surtail has the answers for your health and wellness needs, especially while gaming. Gummies to sharpen the mind when you can't come up with 14 words where 3 would do. Surtail is an independent distributor of all aerial products that you would need to improve your gaming experience. Surtail also distributes bath salts, CBD creams and oils, weight loss products, protein shakes, workout aids, Delta 8 gummies, and so much more. Message Surtail on Discord or go to crazybunch.org.
This program is made possible in part by a grant from Betty Crock, makers of cake mixes that don't come out anything like the pictures on the boxes.
Attention, attention. Mother's Day is this Sunday. This is your warning to stop what you're doing and get the lady in your life the gift she deserves. And no, that blender you planned on getting is not a good idea. We all know that's more for you than her at this point, given your recent pina colada obsession. So here's what you do. You take 5 minutes to go to the card store, then Google nice things to say to your wife on Mother's Day. Do not click the first link. Too obvious. Then write some sweet nothing that she most likely will know did not come from you, but will appreciate the effort anyway. Happy Mother's Day to all.
Hey, John, watching any new shows lately?
Yeah, just this typical family dramedy my, wife got me into. You?
You know, the usual. The new American Horror Story is so good. I just have to make sure the kids aren't around.
Yeah, can't watch those shows with those kids, right?
So what's this family show about?
You know, it's a family of 4 with 2 little girls who are kind of funny, and the dad is great. He's so relatable. And, you know, the last few episodes were kind of heavy.
You okay, John?
Yeah, no, it's just allergies. You know, it seemed like the family was moving, and that the show might be over, and the kids got all grown up.
Are you talking about Bluey, John?
Maybe.
Oh, man, I love that show.
Oh, thank goodness they said it's coming back.
By the way, can I get you a tissue?
I have a real bad, uncomfortable habit. Walk around a little too free. Going out without shorts and I never wear briefs. Showing off my carrot stick and lousy physique. But today I found this wonderful trip. Vacation that's perfect for me. No bikinis, men in Speedos are close to be seen. But a big cruise ship with nude friends like me. Cheek lovers in paradise. Showing your buns, no need to think twice. No need for undies, your skin will suffice. This boat's for cheek lovers in paradise.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Ultimate DJs. Appreciate you guys. What's up? Welcome in. All right. I see, Griffin, I see the question in the chat. People are like, okay, wait a second. Why are we subscribing and we're just going to get a DJ's break over the normal commercials? First of all, this is podcast. We've always had the breaks, and they're funny. That was funny stuff. Okay, listen,
where does he come up with them?
Yeah, first of all, nobody knows this, okay? But I got to watch Hammy during the commercial break, and he's got tears from laughing so hard at the commercials, right? Hammy, back me up here. Yeah. You're muted again, my friend. Oh, wait, no, you're not. Are you? Yeah, you're muted. Come back.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. He's back, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen. Obsidian Hamster.
There he is.
I swear to God, next time I'm on here, I'm gonna get a handle on the mute button because there's a big green button saying that I'm muted every time, and I just look right past it until I start speaking every time.
You don't have to worry about it, man. I've got all the buttons over here. See here, count to 5 for me. Just do it. Just count. Go 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Do it.
1, 2.
See, I got you. I can mute you anytime. It's fine. You don't even have to touch the buttons during the break. I'll just take care of it for you. You don't even have to worry about it, man. My job is to make you comfortable. All right. Are you enjoying the green room?
Thanks,
you got plenty of M&Ms? You good there? Just in case?
In case you're running
had a
low.
sip of
water.
Got some more.
Ooh, yes.
Don't poke the bear, DJ.
Yes,
she's listening.
Why?
Thank
These
you.
are my M&Ms. I actually paid for these. All right, now it is getting a little bit low, so it's about time to plan another visit to Los Angeles. There's not a whole lot in there, Hammy. You gonna help me, buddy? Pal.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
All right. Speaking of, listen, I heard from a little birdie that there's something kind of exciting. Clean the jar. It's got the fingerprints on it where I keep putting my chocolate-covered paws in there, okay? Listen, speaking of you helping me steal more M&Ms, of which I promised not to do. I promised that I would no longer liberate M&Ms or coffee mugs from the Scopely headquarters. Did not talk about anything else, just the mugs and the M&Ms. That being said, I understand that that you are spearheading some projects along with the community team to really, again, kind of put community back into community. Tell us a little bit about some of the IRL stuff that you've got coming up. Don't look at me with that scared look. I was told you could talk about it. Tell me, what have you got planned, man?
Oh, no.
You're doing big things, right? Tell us what's going on in the IRL.
Honestly, from day one, I've been actually as far back as the 5th anniversary Paramount, where you and I actually did meet for the first time. Yeah. I've been pushing to get more IRL meetups, and I think the first thing that's coming up is July with the player test. We're gonna hopefully try and get some CCs out there too at the same time. But this is what I want to do. Beck and I actually had a fantastic conversation about this today. We had a fantastic conversation about this today about, maybe figuring out something for the fall where we'd either do kind of Star Trek Day or we could maybe do the 6th anniversary of the game as well. I'm kind of leaning towards the Star Trek Day because I think there's a big kind of get together in Las Vegas, and that's something that we are actually starting to explore right now. We don't have anything, official to announce or anything, but Beck and I and Sierra, I think, are all united to get more real world stuff going on, because you've got like we talked about earlier, you've got the cruise going on in February. That's like things that we yeah
So as a matter of fact, this is I sent Hammy a note here, I don't know, I guess maybe a week or so ago, and I was like, hey, we're going to try to do this thing in Miami in February. And he said, okay, well, get me some details, which is why I've started pushing this a little bit. I should remind you guys over in the Discord, Griffin, we actually meant to set up an easier way for people to get the role. But if you go over into our Discord and pop into the Star Trek The Cruise announcement room, at least that's where it is right now. I should probably do better. But you can click on that little icon, Hammy, of a cruise ship, and it will give you the role for our Miami meetup. I'm actually trying to get a little bit of an RSVP count right now because I think that Griffin and Arian and Spectre are wanting to kind of put some stuff together in Miami, and I would love to get you guys involved in something like that. So maybe that's something else we can do. You're thinking something in the fall in Vegas. That could be fun. And then Miami, coast to coast, baby, worldwide. Let's go, Hammy.
100% worldwide. Also, this is kind of super duper early, even though it's actually going to happen in a couple weeks. I will be meeting up with some of the actually a few other content creators that are up here in kind of the Pacific Northwest and Canada. So hopefully I'll have a little bit more information about that coming, but I'm super excited. Like this is exactly what we want to do. We want to get, engaged with the community. Oh, were you going to say something?
Tell me about that.
Oh wait.
It's top secret, DJ. Don't
I can't go in more detail.
You said it.
I'm being yelled at. I'm being yelled at. That's all you get. That's all you get.
Okay, not just you. I'm getting yelled at too. Dude, listen. When we do,
dude, there were pings going off.
When we do shows in Los Angeles, you haven't been with me. Were you there when we taped that podcast live at the studio that Beck set up for us? I don't think you were there that night. Literally, dude, we were in like an awesome studio that Beck had set up for us, and we were doing the podcast. We were doing it live in Los Angeles, and we had members from Live Ops there, live in the studio. They were doing stuff with it. Look at him. He's right now nervously looking at his laptop. So the whole time, the whole time, Hammy, there's a producer's window. Anybody has ever seen like a radio studio, like a morning show studio, something, you know that you've got the studio, right? But then there's always that glass, right? The glass where you can see into the production booth, like where they do the news or they're putting everything together. And Beck just stood outside that glass, arms crossed, tapping her watch. I mean, buddy, she was running a show that day. And so, yeah, you're getting the pings. I got the pings. But doing a show, I'm in the comfort of my own home. All right, I'm in my own studio, not wearing pants or anything, and I can still feel Beck's presence running this show right now.
Hair on the back of your neck. Yeah. It stands up.
I can say no more.
All right.
I can say no more. But as I was talking, just the pings were going off. I was hearing the pings. The pings have been received loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Moving on. All right. Thanks a lot for getting me in trouble, Hammy. It's usually the other way around, all right? But this time you got me in trouble.
That's true.
We're going to make
to mixing this up.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to make quite the pair, aren't we? We're going to get in trouble. Let's do troublesome things.
I think so.
Love it.
Shenanigans?
Shenanigans. Okay, anyway, talk to me a little bit more about, wait, what? What about February? I thought he was talking about Las Vegas. Wait, are we not allowed to talk about Las Vegas? What?
Yeah,
Beck, I don't know what you're talking about.
We can.
She's trying to get you off the subject.
We can talk about July for sure.
Okay.
Vegas is actually something we just brought up, and this is very, very early. This is very early, but we want to do more stuff in the future with players. That's bottom line. Is that I love meeting with players, and I want to meet with more in the future.
Fantastic. Beck is pushing me. What about February? Are we supposed to be talking about February?
No, she's moving you along.
Oh, okay. So don't talk about. I'm very lost right now. Griffin, just figure out.
Next topic.
Next topic.
Next topic.
All right. So we're excited about some of the community stuff. Dude, I am so discombobulated now. That's right. The ganglia on my neck are just going crazy. All right. Wait, I can mention early February stuff. Okay. Beck has given us the green light to talk about February stuff, Hammy. What is February stuff?
February stuff is the cruise.
Wait.
We are.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
I quit. I quit the show. Good night, everybody.
I'm sweating. I am sweating so much. Beck is making me so nervous right now. I mean, Oh my God.
I feel like sometimes I feel like you and I are walking through a minefield blindfolded. Just like we're checking chat. Okay, wait, this is okay. No, this isn't okay.
No, okay, change subjects. Oh my God. For those of you who think Beck is not a person to be respected and healthily feared, you would not know Beck. Okay, just throwing that out there. Anyway, February. So the cruise. Okay, so you guys, last I had talked, we were trying to get together a big head count, right? We're trying to get together a head count. We want to find out who all wants to come and hang out with us in Miami, and we're putting together a big thing. We're going to try to do like some cool stuff, maybe some activities or something. There's so much room for activities. G7 is going to be launching. That's right, Istio. We're launching G7 live. And we might get together and having like a nice dinner or something. And I'm kind of wanting, I mean, really truthfully, that's a get there if you can kind of thing. We're not selling tickets. Mm-hmm. It's not an exclusive giveaway. We just like, hey, come on down. And let's get together in Miami if you're able to do that. And let's have like a real true first STFC kind of community meetup, because that's never really been done yet. We did the 5th year anniversary, but it was still like invitation only, right? And this one we're wanting to do our own little mini con, right? Anybody who wants to show up can show up and give Hammy a hug, right? That's right.
Yeah.
It would be cool. Yeah. Floyd says, "Who's talking about leaks?"
I mean,
said nothing. Did you say anything?
Who? What? No,
Jonathan Ingram wants to know if we can have quesadillas there. I think Jonathan Ingram's going to come. Can we have quesadillas when we're in Miami?
This is, you know what? Honestly, I said this in chat the other day. Like, one of the reasons why the team shares so little with me a lot of the time is because they know how easy I am to bribe with quesadillas. They know that I will fold so quickly. They're like, "Oh, really? Well, what is this quesadilla?" Might say differently. I'm like, "Oh no!" It starts sweating because I need that quesadilla, man. I need it.
All right, so the quesadilla thing. That's, we've often talked about that, and I know this is a little bit fluffy, guys, but we're almost out of time. He's got like 6 minutes left, so we're going to kind of wrap up and have a little bit of fun. The whole quesadilla with Echo thing, that started with you, didn't it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep.
Yeah, give us that origin story before we get ready to wrap up, and I do want to thank you for your time. Community, real quick, if you do have... while he's telling the quesadilla story, if you do have a serious game question, I believe that he has agreed to same thing we did last time. We'll do 5 minutes community Q&A, real simple yes or no questions for community manager Obsidian Hamster. We'll do that right before he gets ready to back on out of here. So I will be watching the chat for that. But in the meantime, while I'm gathering up a couple questions and Griffin is helping me watch the chat, tell us a little bit about how, like, you're the one that can be bribed with quesadillas, but Echo has this reputation of things with quesadillas, but then he came out and said he didn't like them. So this has got to be some kind of inside joke. Enlighten us.
Oh, okay. I can get into it right now. Very early on, when we were working together, I was going to fly down to LA, and Eco was very cool. He was just like, "Hey, let me show you around. Let me take you out to some great restaurants. What do you want to have?" And I'm like, "I want to have the best gosh darn quesadilla in town." And he scoffed. He's like, "Quesadilla, that's baby food." And I was so livid at that point and insulted and outraged that I turned my camera off in the Zoom meeting we were in. And I immediately turned it back on because he's besmirching my quesadilla, and that you can't have that. And what I love very early on, even before you and I even met, I came to you with this story, and you were on my side from day one, DJ,
oh, for sure.
And I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I love Eco. Yeah, I love Eco. I know him well. I think he's a cool dude. I like him a lot, but he's wrong on quesadillas, man.
He's wrong on many things, all right? He's wrong on assaults, all right? He is just as wrong on assaults as he is on quesadillas. All right, but
you'll never let it go.
No, never. You came to me with this quesadilla story long ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, I'm totally in your corner on the quesadillas. So, yeah, that kind of became a thing. So fantastic. I love it. All right, very good.
No, I might have a secret goal at some point, and I know this probably won't go over well with the community, but I want the USS Quesadilla in the game.
No,
because we've actually Doc, if you're able to post in chat Doc actually does a mock-up of the USS Quesadilla, and it looks delicious.
Doc,
as it does awesome.
Can I see it? Please throw it up in the Discord chat. I have to see this. Do we have an image? Do we have the art of the USS Quesadilla? All right, I need to see this. I really want to. Oh, the guy, Doc's like, yeah, no, I got it. All right, I'm looking for it. Okay, we'll do that. Well, let's see if we can find that in the next 5 minutes, Doc, because in the meantime, I do want to get to our community Q&A. This is an opportunity for you to ask your questions of Obsidian Hamster in yes or no format. 5 minutes are on the clock. All right, here we go. Have you ever been mugged in front of a Best Buy?
That's pretty specific. No.
Okay. Has Echo cleaned his car yet?
Ooh, good question. I can, next time I'm in LA, I'm gonna get to the bottom of that mystery. I'm gonna guess no.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess no there also.
Yeah.
Okay, game questions. I finished. And this is where you get to get your feedback pen. I don't know that he's going to have an answer to this, but I appreciate you guys throwing it out. I finished every field training but Voyager. Are they ever going to bring down that one field training for commerce insignias from 100,000? Has anybody in the game actually finished that yet, Hammy?
Nope.
I haven't heard of anybody finishing it. This is something, man. I hear this probably a couple times a week since we put that field training in there. I know that actually there's some. I won't go into too much, but there is a phenomenal CM over on the private server named Hearts of Space.
Yeah,
she is taken up. She's amazing. I've worked with Hearts for years. Absolutely incredible. In fact, I'd just like to shout out to the whole team, the whole CM team over there on the private server. I love them all. They're awesome. But Hearts is going after this, and I love her for it because this is something that we hear so often. I don't have any updates, but this is something that we are chasing down.
I just got a picture of the USS Quesadilla. I'm not entirely sure that this is Doc's USS Quesadilla. This looks like it's AI art. Did Doc do AI art? You guys can take a look. That is not the USS Quesadilla. Is that it, Doc?
It literally says thank you AI in the message.
Is that the one that he made? Because Doc says that's not it. Okay. Well, then there's more. There's so much more. All right. Wait, what? Canine Tooth wants to know how many packs he has to buy for Scopely to move you back to VIP. I don't know. Listen, don't answer that because between him and Istio, I feel like that's a thing. That would happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could. The team might be really interested in that question, but I don't know if that's something we should be addressing on a show like this.
Yeah, probably not because someone's going to do it. All right, serious question, game question. Paulo says, "Hey, can we get a little bit of insight into the items that may be added into the event store, such as NX-01 blueprints or commerce insignias? Are there any plans for extra officers or other items to be added into the event store?"
For some reason, I thought there was going to be extra officers, but that's not anywhere close to being 100% concrete. What I have in front of me, though, is basically a list of everything that I've heard from the community. If anybody, honestly, I guess this is my question. This is a spam with a lot of answers. But basically for the next event store, this is what I've heard the most from official. I've heard NX-01 blueprints. I've heard Cube blueprints. A lot of refits, included the Fisha refit, the Section 31 for the Disco refit. Maybe FC shards. FC Ooh. And FT. I think Rev and I talked about this on his show, and I'm fascinated by that. I think the refits are going to be more doable. Blueprints too. But that's the list that I'm working with right now, which does cover a lot of ground. I think FCs and FTs will be very tricky, but I'm going to be trying to get those refits. Are there any other refits out there that people are asking for? Because I'd love to add it to the list.
I guess Yeah, with the salvager skin, that's the Fisha one. I know a lot of people have been asking about that. It is a little bit discouraging to hear that the forbidden technologies might be tough because, man, we are due for the Ferengi whip. You and I talked about that a month ago with the whip. If you don't mind, this is not on the list. So before I get yelled at, I know it's not on the list. Kind of following back up, though, was there any discussion? Were you able to make any headway with forbidden technology? Because that Ferengi whip, man, that is overdue. It would be perfect for the event store, to be honest with you. Be perfect.
Yeah. I think and I think Rev and I talked about this on State of the Game, that once we start getting FTs into the event store, I think that's the first big hurdle that we have to get to. And then we can probably talk about getting the whip in, or at least trying to source the whip some way, because that, honestly, along with I probably hear that more than the Voyager field training, more than anything else. Like, getting the whip into the store is one of the number one asks. Man, I hope the next time I'm here, I have an update for something, but that is something that we've been trying for months and months and months to get. So we'll keep trying and we'll see what we can do.
Had you mentioned, and I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat and my mind's getting jumbled. Had you mentioned the Borg Cube blueprints? Is that something that's
what I want to get to?
I got you. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Very good. Whip it. Whip it good. All right, I've got a tough one for you. This is not on our list. This is the risk of running community Q&A, but I like this question, and at least 4 or 5 players have asked. Hammy, we have reverted back to G5 and G6 being combined in solo leaderboards. It is so discouraging. Has there been any discussion? I know that you guys once tried a new model. It was not popular. So then we went back. But, man, the G5 and G6 is still really crummy. For example, I'm ready to go, man. My research is done. My buildings are done. I'm ready to press an ops. I have been banking. I've just been waiting because I can't compete. As an ops 56, as any G5 player, nobody can compete with a G6 player. Even if the G6 players spent the same number of materials, they're worth a factor of points more. This is a really important thing in the community, G5 and G6.
Yep.
Combination in the SLBs. Is there anything that we can hope for on progress there?
And this is something that I've raised a lot too. The issue is population size. And, like you said, we did try an event that didn't really go over well, where I think it was basically G6 only.
It was like a global G6, right? Like, what it did,
it was like an XSLB.
Yeah, except it wasn't just 1 or 2 servers. If I'm not mistaken, it was all G6 from the entire galaxy that went head to head, and that wasn't popular. Let me ask a really potentially uncomfortable question, if you don't mind, and if we can back off of it. And by the way, it's not going to be uncomfortable for you probably as much as it would be for some of our VIP guests in chat. Was the reason for its unpopularity, and I'm sorry, Doc, I know this is going to make so many people so mad, and it's just genuinely, I need somebody to explain the perspective to me. Was the frustration in that they had stronger competition than what they might be used to out of their own server? Why was that event frowned upon? What was the reason that event failed?
That's a great question. And honestly, some of the VIPs here could probably answer that a little bit better than me, because when did we run that? Was that like
I think it was February? 2-3 months ago. Yeah.
January,
yeah, it was February? A minute ago.
I don't think the competition was the source of the frustration from that, but if we do have some players, January, Beck is saying, but if we have actually some players that participated in that, I would love to hear from them, because I think on paper having the G6 players face off against each other, it does make sense, especially if it's kind of global, but I think that just the way we did it just did not go well. So if chat has, a little bit more insight, I would be happy to hear and kind of take that back.
The level of competition that we've got with it, and I don't want to spend any amount of time on this because it wasn't prepped and we probably don't have any answers. This is a real big feedback point, and I know you're not naive to it. We've talked about it. It was something it's been talked about for months since G6 came out. Really, that very first month when G5 and G6 were in. As a matter of fact, and this is unfair to you, but that month there was a Scopely representative that came out and said, hey, listen, this is not going to last very long. Bubba didn't believe it. He said, this is going to last for longer than we think. They said that they were going to resolve it pretty quick. And here we are, many, many months later.
Yeah.
As unfair as some players may have felt that the global G6 board might have been, I feel like that's a G5's life ever since G6 came out is how unfair it is. I am not motivated.
Yeah.
I am not motivated to spend materials. I'm just not in a solo leaderboard. I might do the milestone or something, but there's no chance for me. Scopely has to acknowledge that there's a problem here. Are there any other ideas that are being tossed around to try to solve this problem?
One of the things that I've heard, but I don't know if this would make it better or worse, I'm leaning towards worse, is, we could break things up smaller if we kind of reduced rewards, and I don't think that's a very good path to go down. I mean, what do you think? Like, would that change your motivation if there wasn't the same level of rewards?
Well, let me ask this question, and because I feel like that's dangerous territory. If we're going to have just an honest, transparent conversation, I feel like that's dangerous territory because, I mean, I don't feel like Scopely should be afraid to source the officer. Like, I understand that it's a revenue driver. Totally get it. But why is there a need for one player a week out of 20 different ops levels to actually be able to secure the unlock? You know what I'm saying? One player?
Yep.
I feel like you very well could tighten the brackets and still not lose. You know what I'm saying? I think that you would probably stimulate some competition if it was a little bit tighter. And here's the thing. I know this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but I feel like the G6 players are probably going to spend on those officers anyway. They're going to get the officers, right? Like whether it's through the milestone, the heroic milestone, or through packs, or through events, or through solo leaderboards, whatever. They're still going to do that. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Canine Tooth, Istio, I don't think that if you had a G6 bracket, even on your own SLB, all right, even if it was an SLB, meaning you have nobody else in your bracket potentially, I still don't see you not spending on new content. If there's something to progress on, like this ship, they're going to spend on it. If there's a new building, they're going to do it if they find value in it. But they're the players who aren't necessarily nervous about spending money on the content because they enjoy that level of progression. They enjoy being the best. They enjoy being at the leading edge. They're willing to buy your content if it provides them entertainment and value. And it's progression. Right? Progression alone, as Canine Tooth points out, progression alone requires spend. I'm not sure that you would find yourself in a position where G6 players are not going to compete just because, like, there's nobody else on their leaderboard. They're going to progress anyway. I feel like Scopely's nervous to try that method, and I would really encourage it to be tried.
So it almost sounds like you're talking about excluding the G6 players.
No, I'm talking about putting G6 in their own bracket, but not in a cross server. Let them just be in their own SLB.
Yeah, we could try, but
I know. Listen,
if it's not cross server,
they're very nervous about that. They have been for months. I don't expect you to have an answer for it. I guess it's just kind of like, what do you think we should do? Is there or is what we have now the best solution?
My good friend and fellow Canadian Stony dude. Right?
I do. Love Stony.
Super cool dude. Love him to death. Stony, how are you? I think he was in chat earlier. Breaking up the brackets has been his number one priority forever. And that I don't think he's wrong. I think that there is that constant frustration when you have kind of, the G6 players, which are able to win these events over and over. So, I can say the same thing that I told you last time. Like, this is something that Eco's brought up, that Beck has brought up, that, the entire CM team from the private server has brought up, but we still haven't been able to move that goalpost or move, get any movement on that. So, again, DJ, I wish I had a better answer.
Yeah, and in all fairness, I know this is just something
for months.
This is the danger that happens with impromptu questions from the chat. So we got to lighten up, or we're not going to be able to do it. I'm sorry to get into something deep, but you know what? A lot of players, it's something that, I mean, if we're looking at just a broad focus area, broad problem in the game, it's definitely that. I think that's a huge one.
Agreed.
I don't know that there's a bigger one, to be honest with you. Thank you guys very much for your questions. Didn't really mean to get into something quite so deep. But I do appreciate your guys' questions. Thank you guys very, very much to the community for throwing out your questions, your suggestions, and Hammy, of course, for being very, very brave and answering them and being willing to jump into that segment, because then it can spiral into something like that. Tarpitude says, listen, just asking for me, myself, and I, when are you launching G7? Next
even
month.
If I knew, again, we have the whole quesadilla bribery thing going on. I will be the last to know. All
right, I think this might be from Doc. I might actually have the actual USS quesadilla now. Is that it, or can you see your screen? Oh no, you're seeing my face. You don't get to see the screen, do you?
Yeah. I can't see it.
That might actually be it, community. I'll throw it into the graphics room. That might be it. Doc, is that the actual USS quesadilla? It sure is. All right. That's pretty good. I like it, and it looks delicious. Actually, in fact, I would totally eat that. It's in the graphics room.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yep.
All right, guys, that is our time with our guest today. I would like to invite you guys to hang out. We've got just a few more minutes that we are going to stay on and discuss some of our reaction and some of the answers that he provided to us today, and some other questions that we can get ready for next time. Yo, what's up, Papa Bear? Thank you for being here as a first-time chatter. Appreciate that. But very special thank you to our guest today, Obsidian Hamster, for being on the show and taking the time. Late, after hours, I might add. It's 8 o'clock. God, you must be hungry. What are you having for dinner? Don't say quesadillas.
Well, it's actually 7 o'clock. I don't know what I'm going to have yet. It's TBD. Quesadillas are Fridays. Everybody knows that. Kick off the weekend the right way.
Yeah, DJ.
Everybody knows that. Okay, sorry about that. I can't tell time. Just like I can't tell that. Well, I can tell now. Hammy, the entire time that I have had you on stream with me, apparently I contributed content to Jonathan Ingram's new content creation channel. And
no.
And I just want to point out that I will be turning in my requisition for reimbursement for the 3.5 trillion steal that I lost.
Oh my God!
During this show. During the show. Hammy, yes, I know. Jonathan Ingram says, yes, Hammy, give it to him. I will just rate it again. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Hammy, as we get ready to wrap up, I do want to thank you. I want to thank you for being an absolute amazing guest. Thank you for being here on the stage. Do you have anything that you would like to say to the audience before we get ready to go? And please just I look forward to having you back. Thank you so very much for appearing on our show after hours. Thank you. Anything you'd like to say to the wonderful people of STFC before you leave?
Just that I absolutely love coming here. I love interacting with the players, and this is fun for me. You mentioned we're after hours. It doesn't feel like that. I love chatting. I love getting to know everybody, and I hope I can bring like some more substantive answers for some of the stuff we talked about that I didn't have tonight. So thanks for everybody who participated. Really do appreciate it, and I'll see everyone in chat.
All right, guys. A very large and in charge round of applause for VIP, our VIP guest. I can't say VIP community manager anymore because you You're all of our community manager, but I keep saying VIP because you are a very important guest. We appreciate it and love having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Obsidian Hamster. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, we're going to take a very quick break. When we return, we're going to break down the interview. We're going to talk all about all the things that Hammy said that we're going to be able to make fun of and forever hold against him in future Scopely conversations. He's shaking his head right All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, your reaction, your thoughts, and your love for Obsidian Hamster. We're going to be back right after these words. My name is Ultimate DJs. This is Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast, back right after these words.
Warp speed is
Commanders, that sound can mean only one thing, and it's that we are hyping up Star Trek The Cruise 8. Why, might you ask, are we hyping this up? Because we are bringing you with us. That's right, Talking Trek presents Star Trek The Cruise 8 Sweepstakes, where you've got a chance for you and a friend to join us on the boat. Support the channel however you would like, through Patreon, through Twitch, and even by sending simple postcards. The official rules are available on our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com, also on our Discord, and in our Twitch chat. Hurry and get your entries into the contest right now. There are no limits and no purchase is necessary. You want to go cruising with myself, Griffin, Wardod, and so many more? Then enter now for your chance to win for you and a friend to cruise Royal Caribbean for Star Trek The Cruise 8, where we will be celebrating 30 years of Voyager. That's right, it's the 30th anniversary. Find the official rules and get entered today. This portion of the show brought to you by CrazyBunch.org. Are you old like Bubba Joe and get tired playing video games? Surtail has a solution for your health and wellness needs, especially while gaming. You could try an energy gummy for those long incursion events, or just to keep yourself conscious while you're doing all that mining. Surtail is an independent distributor of all aerial products you'll need to improve your gaming experience. Message Surtail on Discord or visit CrazyBunch.org for more information. Yo, what's up, Commanders? Great news about PvPTarget.com. You've known for a while that it exists and has some great reference tools regarding PvP banding and common crew loadouts, but they've recently launched brand new tools on the site, including a brand new cargo calculator page as well. This isn't your typical max cargo style calculator, but a brand new, unique tool that identifies the timer until you go over cargo. The game timer might tell you how long to zero the node, but how long until your miner is at risk? You can find out now by using the brand spanking new cargo calculator at PvPTarget.com. Today's show brought to you in part by the Musgrove Trial Firm in Georgia. Have you suffered personal injury in Georgia? You need a buddy. Give Buddy at the Musgrove Trial Firm a call, 678-226-1994. Visit them online at musgrovetrialfirm.com.
This program is made possible in part by a grant from Prickles, the jumbo dill pickles with a really interesting shape.
It's time now for Stoned Movie Reviews. Stoned movie critics for stoned moviegoers.
It's time for the sequel we'll all be going bananas over. It's, what's this one called again, man?
I think it's called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
It's not Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
No. That one came out like 10 years ago. It's even older than War for the Planet of the Apes.
Dude, that one came out in 2017.
Wasn't that Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
I don't know when that one was in theaters.
So wait. Is this all like a rise of the dawning of the war for the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, you're making my head hurt like high school algebra, man. We'll be right back.
Can't we all just get along anyway? All right, we'd like to thank everyone for joining our Zoom graduation ceremony. This seemed like the best option with, well, we are having some connection issues, so please, bear with us. Today's you are ruining it for everyone. We will now call the graduates. Please unmute yourself and walk across your living room when called. Thank you. Kanye, it's your agent. We need to...
I'm doing pretty good as far as geniuses go.
Well, I didn't ask, but okay. Anyway, this Yeezy adult entertainment idea. You think this is a smart move?
I'm delivering product on a whole new level.
I don't know. I'm not really sure it's a great idea.
You need to stop.
Listen, I've been in this business a long, long time. You should really listen to me.
I only listen to people who are younger than me.
Not quite the best business strategy, but hey.
You cannot give me any advice.
You're not going to listen to a word I say, huh?
I spent 80% of my time working on this and 20% of my time working on music.
Well, I guess that would explain the last album. It's the most terrifying animal horror film since the second Beethoven movie. Attack of the super annoying cicadas.
They're so loud. It's like there's a friggin' John Deere driving through my living room.
Can America withstand this invasion?
How am I supposed to concentrate on my Instagram feed? It bit me. It bit me.
I actually don't think they can really hurt you, but it's the worst thing to hit your ears since John Cicada.
It's actually John Cicada.
Cicada, same crappy music. Attack of the super annoying cicadas. I mean cicadas. I hate that song.
Oh, yes, I did it. I did it. Griffin, I did it! People said I wouldn't do it, but I did it! Really, was this actually terrible music? This wasn't terrible music, was it? Wait,
who thinks it's terrible music? That's the #1 hit of 1994.
Wait, was it really?
Just Another Day Without You, that was #1 with a bullet on the AC charts.
Number 1 with a bullet. All right.
I thoroughly enjoyed that commercial break. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm glad. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. My name is Ultimate DJs. Welcome back into Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast, and coming off of our interview with Obsidian Hamster. Always an absolute pleasure to have him on the show. It was really, really great. I appreciate the chat. It was very, very kind. Good questions from the chat. And, you know, one thing that I saw, and I hope, listen, you know, Hammy and I have known each other for a while. We've talked about how we want the show to go. We've talked about how we want these interviews to go, and he's told me, he's like, listen, I'm okay with you pushing a little bit. I'm okay with you challenging a little bit. And I felt like in the beginning, even though I think he did a good job addressing some of those questions. He out disagreed with me on one or two of them, Griffin, which was really, really nice. I know that's going to sound crazy. It was nice to hear him able to stand up for a different position instead of you know me beating him up.
Well, what that is honest, and that's what makes him an MVP, because he will tell you how it is.
Yeah,
unabashedly so, and I think that's great. Great conversation.
Yeah, it was because he had some perspectives that might not be ours. He had some perspectives from game design that, you know, maybe they were looking for this, but then he also came out and said, listen, I think we missed the mark on this and that, and it's not perfect, and we've got a couple of things that we're working on. I think it was actually a good interview. I know I said this a month ago, and some people kind of fondly remember that. I got a few messages about that, about my former dance partner, community manager Panic. You guys remember Panic? He and I would dance real well. Listen, if you guys thought that Hammy's interview, like if you felt like he was dancing around answers in Hammy's interview, then you never heard an interview with Panic. Panic never answered anything.
He would give up nothing.
He gave nothing, but man, his interviews were so entertaining. He was such a good entertainer. He was the best sidestepper you've ever heard. If you think that Hammy was dodging questions, you never met Panic, all right? Yeah, he was a politician. He was presidential. All right. Joker says, I say that like it's a compliment. I do, actually. I do compliment that because it speaks to his ability to fully understand, have a conversation, know what his limits are, and be able to have a real spokesperson type ability. Cruzado said, how is that good? I am exaggerating when I said he never gave answers, because he did, all right? But he was the absolute king at sidestepping, and I feel very comfortable having this kind of conversation with Hammy. I feel very comfortable pushing on him a little bit, because he is able to be honest, and he's able to talk and have a conversation, and he knows his limits. Like, I think that's what I'm saying, guys. You should, as an interviewer, this is a very, very subtle thing, but we appreciate it as broadcasters, as interviewers, because that means we can push a little bit because he knows where his limits are. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is very, very good at knowing what he can say and what he can't. Like, let me point one out. By the way, I fell into it. Sometimes I've got 3 different chats going on, and yes, I say 3 because Beck was one of them. I've got the Discord chat, I got the Twitch chat. I'm watching what Beck's saying. She's producing the show. I'm watching in a producer type role. I'm watching all this stuff. I'm trying to keep eye contact with Hammy. I'm trying to watch the stream. I'm trying to watch the metrics. Listen, producing a show at the level at which we produce it, Griffin, people don't probably fully realize how complicated.
No, there's
that
a lot
may be.
that goes into it, and a lot can go wrong, and it can happen very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
and so sometimes even I get a little bit kerfuffled there, and I might fall on a crutch. I'm going to point one out. And by the way, I already DM'd him about this and thanked him for bailing me out. And that's what I think is, you guys, let me guess, Griffin. You might have known what it was. Chat, let me ask you. Where did Hammy bail me out? I
know exactly what you're talking about.
I asked a question that I was not allowed to ask. All right, and you and most of you guys who have listened to me for years are probably going to know that. I asked a question that even I have said publicly that I'm not allowed to ask, and I did it because it's almost a crutch for me. I asked the question, what's your opinion? What should we do? What would you do? You know, I'm not allowed to ask that question. Does anybody know why? It's unfair. He's a spokesperson. He is the representative of Scopely. He can't answer that question because it's not what would he do. You see what I'm saying? Anything that he says then turns around and gets flipped into gospel. You see what I'm saying?
That would be like asking a White House correspondent what would you do if you were the president in this situation?
That's right.
A big no-no.
That's right. Jungle of 9 says, so that won't happen again. No, I'm not saying it's not going to happen again. It is a crutch of mine. Like, sometimes if I'm struggling to come up with a segue or something like that, it's an opportunity for me to engage him. It's what we call an open-ended question. It buys me time. Like, hey, Griffin, here I am giving broadcast journalism 101. It's an opportunity for me to ask a mindless question that buys me 30 or 60 seconds because I'm doing something on the production side. All right. True fairness, peek behind the curtain, that's what that was. That was me trying to navigate something over here, so I need to ask a question that keeps him engaged. All right. So I asked that question, but it's not fair. All right. You're right, Vic. It is not a fair question. But you know what he answered that with? And this all circles back to his professionalism and why I know I can push on him a little bit. Because how did he answer that question? Anybody remember? What was the exact detail? The beautiful way that he answered that question? Well, Stony Dude said this. Doc said this. You said this. Stewie said this. He turned around. He saved me from myself. No, Cruzito, he can't say I can't answer because you guys crucify that answer. All right, ask Echo about that one. When he says, I can't answer that. All right, y'all don't like that answer. What a professional. He said, listen, I don't know that I can offer my opinion, but you know what? Here's what Doc said, and I like this idea. Here's what Stoney said the other day, and I like that idea. It was a very good pivot. And Tarpitude, it proves that he's listening. All right. Beck mentioned this in the chat a little bit ago, that every single time he comes on the show, which has only been twice so far, but any show, when he was on Rev's show, today he came into meetings with notes from Rev's show. He came in with notes. The notes that he took with that pen from last show, he came back the very next day, and he was taking notes tonight. And Beck has said, I'm looking forward to hearing what he brings to the table tomorrow, because he's going to. And I think that is awesome. That's point A. Point B is I am comfortable professionally and politely pushing on him a little bit, because he can handle himself. He knows what he can say and what he can't. He knows how to dodge a question that he knows I shouldn't have asked. All right. I think those are really, really good things. Simpy says, so you're praising him for saying I can't answer in different words. Okay. Not exactly, Simpy. That is funny. That's a really weird twist on how you say that, but not really. What I'm praising is that we have rules. That's what I agree to, right? And even though I broke that rule, he was able to successfully navigate it into something that still delivered a message, right? And not SKZ, not necessarily par for the course. The message, the answer to that question, obviously, guys, he can't answer. He can't answer that question. That was an unanswerable question. He couldn't answer that. What would you do if you were in charge over there? He can't answer that. Like, that's not even a question. That wasn't him dodging anything. He can't. It's an impossible question. The point that I'm making is he turned it around and still demonstrated to you guys a positive quality in which, hey, okay, I can't answer that question, but I can tell you some of the other ideas that I've been sourcing, that I've been gathering from the community, from other community leaders like Stony Dude, like On Call Doc, like Stewie Doo, and here were some of their ideas, and I love some of these ideas. What do you think about that? There's probably not a better way. Yeah, Benny Hill, it was a Kobayashi Maru question. Absolutely it was. And I feel like it bodes well for our relationship, Griffin. I feel like that gives me the green light. He is such a professional that gives me the green light to maybe push him a little bit like we did on the Gorn Eviscerator. And I don't think that was. I agree. I don't think that was rude. I don't think it was unprofessional. I think he was fine with that conversation. He disagreed when he needed to. He stood up for the position when he needed to.
And we learned things that really surprised me. Like, for example, it had not yet crossed his desk, the idea of opening up the sourcing of the juice to all players, which I thought that was, like a day one, that's feedback number one. Everybody wants the juice. So now we know that he knows, and perhaps he can help us fix that problem. So again, just great conversation, great exchange of information.
I was surprised at that too, because I thought that was a report that I filed. I went back through and so I didn't file that report with him. I had actually filed that report in a different chat. I think he could have seen that, but I mean, he's in a dozen chats. Well, more. Sure. A dozen is not even close to accurate. So he must have missed that one, because I sent it in a more of a broader forum. But I'll make sure that he gets that, because I thought that I had turned that one in, but I didn't send it to him. I put it in
that's huge.
I put it in a forum. So the fact, I mean, that's another thing. Like you just say, the fact that he's soaking up information from all these other Discords and still adding to it. And yeah, he missed this one, but we're gonna add it back in. And again, not that he missed my report per se, just I know he's gathering that information. It might make it farther if I just send it to him directly.
Well, what we know about Hamster is that in him, we definitely have an advocate for the player. He's a player himself. He listens and he takes notes. He provides feedback and updates when he receives them. And all of these things are exactly what the Star Trek Fleet Command community needs in 2024. And I love it.
Louis P says, I'm happy that he wants to be here. He's showing his face, which helps you read him as a person. You can see that he wants to hear from us. I'm impressed with his abilities. Cruzito, flipping back over to the game design, though, Griffin, says it's concerning that this kind of thing was not considered by the dev team ahead of launch. Leaving
that's egg on my face. I thought that was a bug. I thought for sure that was a bug, and that would be fixed. So no, that was the plan all along.
You did say that has to come out. I mean, I'm not going to say, Cruzito, I'm not going to say that the dev team should have thought about that ahead of launch. Maybe they should have. But, I mean, me personally, I think it's the other way around. I don't think it should cost anything to traverse through the rip. I think it should cost for you to create the rip. But if the true intention was for you to help your alliance, I feel like your alliance shouldn't be paying to get into it. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about it. I don't know.
Anyway, great interview, DJ. Thank you for that preparation, and thank you for bringing that to the community. That was really nice.
Good. Thank you. Do we have anything else that you guys wanted to talk about? I know today was today is the first show of the arc. I saw somebody ask, wait, have we talked about this loop? And no, the answer is no, not in podcast. We did some stuff on Twitch on Tuesday when it launched, but I haven't done a podcast. This would be episode 1 of this arc, and we don't have time to go through all the teaching, so I guess we're going to have to table that for Sunday. But this coming Sunday, we will be taping a podcast, and Griffin, I want to, in much detail, in much nerdy glory and math, I want to break down this arc. Everything that we have done in the laboratory on Twitch, I want to summarize for the podcast audience, because a lot of what I said to Hammy tonight was general, but I still am a big fan of this arc. I do admit that the rip is slightly less stellar than what I thought it was. But I will tell you that I'm still going to claim that I called it, because I think the technology is phenomenal, but the limitation that they put on the implementation, Griffin, I think is where it failed. It will
definitely push the game forward, but yes, we need to have that chain link fence opened and allow all players through that fence of traversing.
Yeah, they didn't.
Gording over.
The technology, I still think the technology is game improving. I think the game, to me, the rip has the technology that is as fundamental a core change to the game as disco summoning was. But the limitation that they put on it, I'm going to categorize that as implementation, and I'm still going to say that I called it right.
I think you're right. It fixes the one problem with the Armadas that most of us hate, which is getting there.
Yeah. And so if they were to do something about these warp locks, if they do something about the rip range, if they do something about actually letting there be more range and allowing a G3 player to go up into G4 space, or a G4 player to go to G5 space, I think that it will become one of the best improvements to the game in a very, very long time. And I am still going to claim that I'm potentially right on this thing, but the technology is very cool for the game, but implementation may have failed it. And that is upsetting to me. And I'm hoping that we can do something better with it. We're going to teach you all about it coming up this weekend when we've had a chance to finish going through everything. Blue will be back. Jules will be here. Jules, good evening. Welcome to the stage. How you doing, my man? Appreciate you being here.
Doing well.
We've got a lot of stuff. You've not stopped. The data analysis on this thing, you've got charts on charts on charts. And I'm really excited to hear you break them all down. This coming weekend, hopefully we'll be able to squeeze out an hour or two of Jules' time, given all the family stuff that's going to be going on this weekend. Hopefully we can get a couple of minutes with you to go over some of the teaching, because we haven't done it on podcasts, and I really want to get into it. I want to explain the entire loop. I want to talk about the pros and cons of this RIP technology, and I want to talk about the mathematics of the refinery, because that looks like it's actually changed a little bit, Jules. Between today and Tuesday, that math has changed a little bit. Do you think it's for
the fundamental thing that changed about the recruits was that there's a cooldown added. So we did a lot of the math not assuming the cooldown, and now that we kind of see, well, you're actually going to be limited to the actual chest you can pull, that kind of changes the math there. I still think that it's good recruit as you compare it to other recruiting bundles that exist, or the recruiting pass that exists.
I don't necessarily think I disagree. Now, I am surprised at the surprise of a cooldown. It's not a long cooldown. It's 22 hours. It's a normal one-day cooldown. So what are we surprised at? Where did we miss that, Jules? Where did we miss that analytics? Because it's only a 24-hour cooldown.
To be honest, a lot of those analytics happened on launch day because they gave us all tiers of information right off the bat, which
Right.
thank you.
Correct.
Thank you so much for doing so. But we just didn't have all of the other types of information that generally filter in when people buy the ship. Like the cooldown was not in that initial launch information that you can be, found under an eye. However, all of the recruiting tokens were. So when we originally did that math, we were kind of looking at that being like, oh, this is great. And then we kind of went back, said, oh, there's a cooldown. How do we maximize the cooldown? Then we kind of redid the math, and that still shows that, you're still getting a great amount of recruits. No, it's not Mantis, but like nothing is Mantis. Mantis recruiting is just ridiculous. Somebody also pointed out that the Bajoran recruiting is just ridiculous and how good it is in recruiting those officers.
I've always felt
But
like
then you
that
take a
was
look
the
at-
best one with the solo armadas. I've always felt like that was the best.
Yes,
for
but
those officers.
you didn't have month one sourcing of the brand new officers with either of those loops, and you do now.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. I'm not disparaging this sourcing in any way, shape, or form. Especially if you separate the two, right? If we're looking at the officers being available on day one, that's never happened. That's an A++, 5-star, right? But on the quantity of shards, this isn't the best there's ever been. But it is certainly
let me just list
reasonable.
Let me just list off some of the other options that are worse. Cerritos, Complex Nanotech, Elite Faction Recruits, Amalgam, Zindi, which apparently is sourcing for Enterprise, maybe Discovery before the refit. So like there's just a lot of other recruiting that this is still better at base figures, and the fact that it gets better as you tier up the ship is amazing as well.
I miss him so much. I love Bubba Joe, and I got a chance to talk to him here a week or two ago. He's doing good. I miss him so much. But this is something he would have been happy with, Jules, because he always felt that a lot of things in this game punished progression. And he's been right about a lot of things. That started all the way back with Stella and Outlaw, if you remember. Like, that was one of the worst things. Is that the deeper your progression went, the worse it got in the game. He came out and said that Titan was the first loop in the game that actually got it right. And there's arguments as to whether or not Voyager got it right. I think now you could argue that Voyager got it right. It was a little bit painful in the beginning because of some of those sizes of those refineries, those pools. But Titan really got it right. You could argue that Voyager got it right, now 6 months or 12 months after launch. But this one looks really right. I think you could argue that Section 31 got it right with their store, that it didn't punish progression. And here we go again with the Gorn Eviscerator, not punishing progression. The NX-01, also really good, Matters points out. They have really settled in and gotten that original message that we've got a problem with punishing progression, and I think they're getting better. And Jules, as you mentioned, the progression on this all the way up is good. I feel like this would get a passing grade from Bubba. There's no punishment. There is only incentive to tiering up this ship.
Agreed.
This Sunday, we're going to dive into it a little bit more, the actual analytics, the math, the sourcing, and hopefully some timelines. Jules, I know we've got a couple of days left. One thing that we still have yet to, I say we, I need to give all the credit to the mathematicians because I'm a dummy. Are you working on projected timelines for free-to-play tiering? Like, and by the way, I say free to play because obviously right now, if you have the ship, you bought it. But natural, maybe we should say native progression, Jules, instead of free to play. But native progression or designed progression through the tiers. Will we have some insight into the timing of that ready on Sunday?
Yeah, it's been there since day one. It's in the spreadsheet that you have posted.
Cool. We'll teach about that.
Upgrade costs.
We'll teach about that coming up this Sunday. Go into some details there and get into the actual math. I would also like to know one other challenge I'd like to throw out there for you, Jules, since you've already done the first one. Since there is a cooldown on the officer pulls, is there a discernible pattern? Day 1, single pull. Day 2, double pull. Day 3, single. Day 4, single. Day 5, single. Day 6, double. Is there a pattern in which we can maximize our officer shards now that we know about the cooldown?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I think that you'll just need to maximize it as you go. There is no pattern that is going to be more or less efficient like there was with the Titan.
So if you have
or
the
some of other
currency,
ones.
dump it, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Take the
Yep.
largest pull per day that you can, no matter what, right?
Yeah, we did map it out. It's in the lab as well of kind of like what those chests per day would look like, but that's just based on maximizing it. There is no inefficient way of just spending all your currency.
Gotcha. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about that, go into some more detail into those charts this coming Sunday. Hellscythe asks in the chat, do we have the sourcing path for the ship yet? Yeah, that was one thing that Hammy was a little, I don't want to say dodgy on, but he just said, no, I can't talk to you about that right now. What we know, Hellscythe, is that there is a weekly event that will source blueprints for this ship. We know that its launch is fixed. It's already been planned. We do not know what the date is, so it's not something that they're trying to scramble to do. It's intended that it has not launched yet. We do not publicly know the date at which the sourcing event will begin. However, this, again, going back to just admiring his grace, Griffin, he did give us a nugget here today. Now, I don't know what the interpretation of the nugget is. He said that the timeline of sourcing would follow NX-01. Now, there were two immediate theories in the chat that popped right up. Everywhere it matters, let me come to you on this. There were two immediate theories that popped up into the chat when he said that statement. My personal interpretation of what he said was it's going to take as long as the NX-01, which was what? 90 days, 93 days, I think is what it actually was. Because remember, they gave a few blueprints up front. So I think it ended up being what? 90 to 93 days.
About that, yeah.
The other theory, which I think I personally disagree with matters, but the other theory was one blueprint a day. Okay? But this is a 200 blueprint ship, so now people are freaking out saying it's going to be 7 months. I don't think that's the right. I'd like to go around the panel real quick before we go because we really need to go. We're out of time. Matters, let me ask you, based on what Hammy said, which, by the way, I think was brilliant, okay? He gave an answer, or at least he gave a hint. He gave a hint without outright answering the question definitively. He kind of gave us two possibilities, and we're going to have to just kind of believe in what it is, right? Believe option A, option B, but we don't know until we see it. What do you think, now that he has said what he said, what do you think the sourcing path is going to be on this? I think it's going to be 90 days. I think it's going to be Cerritos style. Do you agree, or is there another? Do you think it's going to be one blueprint a day?
No. I mean, they did say that the blueprints will be sourced from the weekly event. So my expectation is this weekly event will probably get 14, 15 blueprints. So it'll end up being
10
similar
weeks.
to double pulling the NX-01.
Yeah, 10 weeks. All right. Coming around the chat, Griffin, your thoughts?
Same exact thing. I think it'll be just like that. Maybe something along the lines of a weekly participation in Gorn Space to hit an SMS.
Andy is feeling a little bit more pessimistic. He's saying 2 blueprints a week, taking 100 weeks. That'd be 2 years, Andy. There's no way. There is no way it would be 2 years on that. Shadowed Fox thinking it's going to be Cerritos style. Wild Wonder thinking 20 weeks. That would be 5 months, 10 a week for 20 weeks. Texas Sky going 90 to 120 days. I think that is probably it. Joker betting on 5 to 10 blueprints per event. I think it's going to be more than that. I think Matters is probably closer to that. I think it's going to be about, what's 200 divided by 10? 20. I think, God, that would be a lot. I think it's going to be 20. I think it's going to be 20 blueprints each week. I think we're going to see this event. I think it's going to be Cerritos style 10 weeks.
And that's not unheard of. That's how many Motivine blueprints you get per week, more or less.
Joker thinks it's going to take up to 40 weeks. I just don't see them. I don't see it taking that long. He said a similar amount of time to the NX-01.
Yeah, the answer was given. What was not given was the how.
The method.
Not the when.
Yeah.
How much. So we already know it's going to be 3 months.
Well, I
will add
certainly
too
hope that that's going to be it. I mean, he didn't say with 100% certainty. I think it's going to be 100. I think it'd be the 100 days or less. I think it'll be 3 months. Go ahead, Jules.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the Cerritos Wednesday, the California class event, didn't launch in the arc.
It did not.
It launched after the arc.
That's correct. It launched in not even between, like not even at the end of the arc. It waited until the start of the next arc. So basically, when the ship came out, when Cerritos came out, it was 30 days. It was 30 days, and then they started the event. So in fairness, when I do say 90 days, when I say 100 days, that is probably, in fairness, it might be 4 months, Griffin, because it could be 30 days before it starts. So I think that's it. Carissa said, CMs have said many things. How often are they wrong? Here's the thing. Hammy's pretty plugged in. He hasn't really been that wrong so far. Hammy's kind of been on it. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say he's infallible. I mean, for example, he admitted that both him and I may have misunderstood the impact of the spatial rip in the very beginning. I mean, he even said, I thought it was going to be a little bit more potent. I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger. So, but he hasn't come out and just been out and out wrong about a lot of things. he's been pretty on point. So, I think he's done all right. So, but there could be a 30-day wait for the event to even start. So, I don't know. We'll see. Ransusi said, I think you're right on Cerritos, but I do believe there were some blueprints in the arc. I don't remember. I was thinking that it was 10 per week, and you got the event for a full 10 weeks. Did Cerritos have partial blueprints that came the month before? See, I know you're right, engineering. The Borg Cube did have partial blueprints that month, and it allowed you to accelerate. So did Voyager, by the way. Voyager did that too. Remember, there were 50 blueprints of Voyager available that you could have gotten instead of the Harry Kim shards. So
that was the choice.
Yeah, there was the choice there with Voyager. Who knows? We might see something like that with this month. I don't know. But I
another thing to consider is
I don't think it's going to be long.
This is the end of an arc, so we are going to be pivoting to something else next month, and that might be a little telling on how quickly they want to put a bow on this ship as well.
Well, that's a double-edged sword, man, because yes, they might want to put a bow on this, but when has Scopely forgotten to come back to things? And that might be a good thing. Maybe that's why this event is already fixed with a planned start date and why the sourcing plan came out like it did, so that way they can throw it in the computer, in the scheduler, and it's done, and they don't have to come back to it. In which case, I would praise that as learning one's own habits, because we have very commonly said, you guys are not good at coming back to pick up the details, to tie up loose ends. They're not good at it.
That's exactly what I meant and why I said put a bow on it. I don't think we're going to wait 30 days for this sourcing to begin. I think they're going to get it out there right now.
I agree. Yeah. They don't typically come back. It's kind of a not at all kind of scenario. So if they do it this way, then I'm pleased for that. It actually shows self-learning, right? It shows self-recognition and intended improvement for them to stop forgetting about stuff and actually coming out with sourcing paths up front so that they don't have to go back and do the work twice. I think that was one comment that I actually did get to have with some of the higher ups in a meeting with them, is like, listen, you guys got to look in the mirror and realize what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. You guys don't circle back well. You're busy. You got a lot of content coming out. You move on to the next thing, and then before you know it, it's been a year and we still don't have sourcing on the Ferengi whip. You know what I'm saying? I use that all the time. Like, it's not that they're intentionally withholding it, guys. They haven't thought about it. And it's not that they haven't really thought about it. It's that they haven't dedicated the bandwidth to figuring it out because they didn't do it the first time around.
Yes, the bigger fish to fry conundrum.
Yeah. They've got content. They've got deadlines. They've got this other stuff. They got the upcoming arcs. And no one's going back to write an arc that happened 12 months ago. They're not going back to that content. So I think this is actually a positive sign that listen, officer sourcing, ship sourcing, month one. There's nothing to come back to here. right? I mean, seriously, there's nothing to come back to. They got it all covered. So now they don't have to come back. You know, they can work on the new content and the future stuff and then worry about that new and future stuff and not have to answer questions like we're asking for the Ferengi whip. When are we going to get that? When are we going to get the Fisha Salvager skin? When are we going to get Borg blueprints? When are we going to get Gorn Eviscerator shards? That's a question we're never going to have to ask. So
that is a major improvement, and we've been looking for that for a long time.
We have. Now, there's still housekeeping to be done, but not for the Gorn loop. There is no housekeeping they got to come back to. They got it. We still have 5 years of other content that we've got to maybe, clean up on, but this does bode well for the future, though, Griffin. It bodes well that if they do it now, they might do it on the next arc, and then they might do it the arc after that, and eventually they will catch up on the old stuff. And at that point, call me crazy, call me rose-colored. I'm wearing rose-colored glasses. Call me ambitious, but I believe that if they continue down this path, there will eventually come a point where 100% of everything in the game has a path. And that
we'll actually have 7 and 9 and Neelix in that store. Amazing.
Joker says I'm very rose-colored. Texas guy says you crazy. All right, even Ben Stein would laugh.
we have never seen this behavior from Scopely before. This is the first month that we've seen that kind of month one sourcing and potential ship sourcing start right away. So I think DJs is right on this one.
I hope so. I hope so. Matters has a point about the Eviscerator officer shards. I'd like to come back very quick. Matters, you get the final word tonight on the Gorn Eviscerator and our launch. I wish we could have gotten into more teaching tonight, but it was great to have Hammy. This coming Sunday, we're going to talk more about our Miami meetup, and we will go into very deep, detailed analytics on the Gorn Refinery and the Gorn Eviscerator. Matters, you've got a small nugget, food for thought for players looking at the refinery now, trying to decide whether or not this ship is for them this month. Is there value in acquiring this ship? Matters, what do you got for us on the Officer Refinery?
There is definitely value, but I did just want to point out there is a scenario where you don't necessarily want to be max pulling the officer shards, and that's only applies to people that don't already have the ship, because you're already banking the shards, and because tier 1 you don't get enough for a single pull every day. While you have it, once you get it, do only one pull. And then once you get tier 2, then start doing double pulls. Otherwise, you might burn through all your officer shards, and then you won't even be able to do a single pull every day.
In other words, if you're a player, and actually I saw this, I think Blue Mandalorian mentioned he was doing this. He was out. Oh no, he's got the ship. Did he get the ship? He did.
He's got it now.
Somebody else, maybe was it Putz? I think it might have been Putz. Said I've been grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, and I can actually still pull some of the officer shards. Is that what he said? Was he pulling it or no? Is the refinery even open? It's you.
He can get the tokens, but he can't actually pull the officers with the tokens. So he's banking up tokens.
Okay.
Which at tier 1 of the ship, it would be inefficient to use up all your tokens before you manage to get your ship to tier 2.
Okay. So in other words, you continue to grind it out, get the tokens, but don't necessarily go hog wild in that officer refinery until you get it to at least tier 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait till you're at tier 2 and then do double pulls, because the same thing will apply until you get it to like tier 4 or 5 for the triples.
Omicron says I'm single pulling pretty much every day right now anyway. But here's the thing. I think that
it is every other day. Yeah.
Every other day.
At tier 1, it's every other day.
Tier 1's every other day. I think I don't think they missed the math that much. I think the reason that there's a triple pull that's hundreds of tokens Matters, I think it's because the sourcing is going to get there. I remember having the same wild thought when the tally came out, right? How impossible it was. And now, if your tally's maxed, like you're triple pulling everything and you still have surplus. You know what I'm saying? So I think this actually bodes well. I think Scopely has demonstrated a lot of learnings with this arc. And if I look at this game design and I look at that triple option, seeing that it costs 500 or 300 or whatever it is, I think that actually bodes well. I think that means that sourcing is going to get pretty daggone stupid for these things down the road. And I think we're going to see hundreds. I think we're going to see a lot.
I'm getting 120 a day of the Apex recruits, and so I'm triple pulling every 3 days. And that's not a bad rate at all.
And it's day 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel I know he paid. Don't get me wrong. He paid. But I mean, again, it's early. Stevens Aaron will forever haunt me in my head. There's going to be some sourcing adjustments to this, and I think they've already planned for it. I think they're telling us, like, don't freak out. There's going to be more tokens of this eventually because they've already given us the overflow mechanic. You know, so yeah, I know. Stevens Aaron haunting me, man, just for freaking ever. It's just always in my head. Stevens Aaron might be one of the only few people in this world who have successfully ingrained a mantra into my skull. It's only day 1, DJs. Seriously, I can't not think of it. He's one of the oldest players in the game. He was playing before most of you. Even if you're a legacy day 1 player, he's still got you beat because he's one of the last remaining beta players. You guys should know that.
So it's his fault the whole time.
Are there many beta players? Real quick, throw it up in chat. Just get me an emoji in chat. Are you a pre-day 1 player? As in, are you an actual alpha or beta player? I don't know that there are very many left. I don't think there are very. When I say out of beta, Mimi's joking. Game is out of beta? No, I'm talking about pre-November 20th to 2018. All right. Yeah, pre-November 2018. This game came out in beta, in 2017, I think? Early 17, like March or April. All right. Commander Taylor says server 187 has loads. Yeah, but most of them are withering from old age and don't participate. I'm kidding. I'm joking. No, I mean, seriously. Okay, my point was, sorry, I didn't mean to offend anyway. My point is, there are very few of you. There's very few of you. Stevens Aaron's been around a minute. He's your elder. Respect your elders, people. All right. Duder says server 35 joined around that time. Nope, they didn't. Server 35 is probably about a year and a half after Stevens Aaron. Maybe more than that, maybe 2 years. Beta was in 2018 alpha. You played alpha? I didn't know you played alpha. I thought you were beta. You played alpha? God, how disgusted would any of you feel if you just heard the statistic that you just hit your 7-year anniversary in this game?
Wow.
Would anybody feel a little bit nauseous if you said, "Oh, just celebrated my 7th birthday in this game"? Holy smokes! Dang, Aaron, that's some dedication. All right. Any other questions in the chat? Any other questions? Anything that I might be able to answer for you guys? Our time is well past up, but I'd like to thank you guys and spend a minute or two with you. Andy says, DJ, what about the Gorn ship packs not having G5 materials for G5 players? All right. This is unusual. Okay? So I agree that it's unusual. However, it might not be the same thing that you find unusual about it. See, the unusual thing is there's usually not materials in it. Okay? There's usually not materials in that pack. What the only thing that usually comes in a ship build pack are the blueprints and any materials required to actually build the ship. So it might have G3 common or G4 common. Okay? Yeah, you're going to come back and buy parts packs after that. What I think is caught us off guard, because I noticed that too, by the way. All right, I noticed that because I was going in and buying packs for the people who won the ships. There was no G5 in them. All right, so they usually that's the thing. They usually don't sell you materials. All right, and the reason that there's no G5 in them for G5 this time is because they didn't scale the packs. And that's my point. Ship packs, like to buy the blueprints for a ship, it's always been one universal pack. Like, that's it. The only thing that scales in them might be Latinum, but even then, not really. It doesn't scale because there's not a whole lot in it. The point of the pack is the ship blueprints, all right? So there's usually only like one, maybe two versions of that pack. The fact that they introduced all those materials and resources meant that they had to create multiple versions of that pack, and that was not precedent. So I think that it's going to sound crazy. I think it was a mistake for them to put resources and materials in the ship blueprint pack. But the fact that they did, in my opinion, is player beneficial. I think you should look at those materials as added value and not that you're missing the G5 because they probably weren't supposed to be in there in the first place. Or if they were, it was just, some added value because of the grade of the ship is, in fact, a G4 ship. But they've never really done that before. So the upgrade packs will contain G5 in them, but the ship blueprints pack probably was not really ever supposed to. Throwing that out there. Okay. The fact that it's a Gorn ship killing Gorn is still strange to me. Actually, Commander Taylor, all right, so Griffin educated me on this. It's not a Gorn ship. It's
built.
A
stolen Gorn ship. It's gone in 60 seconds, Gorn ship.
It was built. Not even. They didn't steal it. They engineered it. All right. That's what you showed me, right? So if you go into the ship and you look at the details, all right, reverse engineered from scans of a broken or a downed Gorn ship, the Eviscerator is visually indistinguishable from one of the Gorn's own. It was scanned and engineered and built by the Federation, obviously, because of the nacelles, built by the Federation, all right, to allow it to be indistinguishable, meaning it can fly amongst the Gorn undetected and then destroy the Gorn before anybody realizes that they're an imposter. It is.
You might even say eviscerate them.
People really want that mug.
Get eviscerated,
we're making the mug.
biatch.
We're gonna make it. Yeah, it's a spy ship. All right. It is not a Gorn ship. It was built as a Gorn infiltrator ship. All right. That's it.
Gorn in 60 seconds, according to Pirate Yar. Brilliant.
Texas guy says, any idea of when Tal will be fixed and worked as designed? Wait, what? Tal? Tal works fine. Is that what you're talking about? Tal, the officer Tal? What you talking about,
your
man?
cousin Tal. He already lost his job last week because
Wait, what Tal? What Tal are you talking about? Tal works fine. All right. Tal's not broken, dude. Tal's good. Tal's Gucci. My cousin Vinny. All right, guys. Is that it? We done, Griffin? We good?
I think so.
We good. Let's roll. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you all being here. My name is Ultimate DJs, inviting you to visit our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com. When you go to our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com, you're going to find links to right here on our Twitch, on our YouTube. Oh, my God. Okay, so I'm going to have to fit in a bonus stream here for you guys. I'm going to have to fit in a bonus stream because guess what came through? By the way, no names. Don't throw out any names because I think Beck is still in the chat. But my contract came through for that extra sponsorship, but they want me to do it very quickly. They told me I have to do it like before the 14th. So
that's in 5 days.
I know. So I'm gonna have to find time for a bonus stream. Yeah. You're gonna have to find for a bonus stream. All right, so that's gonna be happening. And it's coming up here in just the next couple of days. We're going to come and do an extra bonus stream and have a little bit of fun with that content. It's going to be coolio. So that'll be happening in the next couple of days. And you'll be able to, but that stream, guess what? This is crazy. I don't know why. They're paying extra to do it on YouTube Live.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, they want to do a YouTube Live. So we actually won't be on Twitch for that stream. We're going to go for the first time in a year and a half and do a stream on YouTube Live.
Wow.
Yeah, haven't done that in a minute. So we're going to do that. That's coming up here in the next couple of days. So you can find a link over to our YouTube. You can find a link to our merchandise store. Go pick yourself up some T-shirts. It's summertime. You got some really cool T-shirts, some nice hats. All right, get you some socks or a nice. We got nice cups, right? We got great cups, like what do they call them? Tumblers. Got some great stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What are those new cups called?
What are they? Tumblers. Yeah, they got those things. We got a lot of great merch on there. Just hit up the merch store and our Patreon program, where I would like to invite you guys to become members. You can become a free member, right, and still get access to some of the extra bonus content that we put over there. But let me remind you that entering at a gold level, even $5 or more per month, gets you registered into our Talking Trek Cruise sweepstakes. And if, by chance, you register at the $10 level, not only do you get bonus entries, but you get your name read at the end of every show. So I'd like to say thank you to our gold patrons now: Lord Neelix, Lady Kess Trader, Iron Chef, Virtual Army, Mecrack, Regis, Jayberg, Shady Pines, Big Shakes, Lobot, it's Hunter, Degora, Cruzito, Ransusi, Hank, Ape, DJ Gripsy, 101, Late Under Label, Louis P, Osiris, Bandetta, Grog, Archangel, Smoke, Mohawk, Jetski, Papa Smurf, Jason, Captain Jack, Vadim, Scorpionus, Archer, and Honey, and Dominus, Casey Jones, Wet Willie, Joe, K92, Surtail, A-Fox, Judge Crane, G-Force, Babengas, Captain Q, Game World, Game, Junior, Admiral, Inwater, Cha-Cha, War, Scarlet Hawk, Kendall, DJ's got rated, prophetic, Jaga, Nevigo, Fotilli, Blue Mandalorian, Noxus, Exhibitor, Furbanks, Dr. Link, Plutus, One, Schizoido, Welch, Gunner, Unimatrix, Hazards for everyone, The Web, Balamop, King 101, Medic 213, J-Babes, Dark 9, Pixelate, Buddy, Spectre, Yukon, Nico, Diva, Dorsal, Oscar, 90, Shoopster, Griffin, Mean Beat, Thomas, Everywhere It Matters, Shannara, John, Rogue 5, Squirrel Noggin, Kathy, Jess, Insanity, Paviella, DJs, Refine More, ISO, Cottontail, Sweet and Psycho, and Hazards for all. Thank you for contributing at a level of $10 or more per month to Talking Trek, a registered trademark and recorded in front of a live studio audience for distribution across podcast platforms everywhere. My name is Ultimate DJs, your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Oh, God. We'll see you on the next one, everybody. Have a good one. Meow. God. Are we done yet?